very cleanly under the cover of music and title scene, managed to get that lighting fixed, and we are live with the Metal Lab.
But are we unmuted?
We are not. We are unmuted. I am unmuted. I can be heard today. I have figured it out.
That's right.
Oh, man. Happy holidays, everybody. This is going to be the last episode of the Metal Lab for 2018. And I want to welcome, for the last episode of this 2018 year, Mr. Tom Kerr.
Hello, everyone.
And Jay.
I'm also here.
It's funny, I do this to Jay because a little while back, in the early goings of the show, he wanted me to never share his last name. And then I had to remind him eventually. He's like, you know, they all know your last name from tournament results, right?
Well, and yeah, my Facebook friend list has suffered accordingly. But what can you do?
Yeah, mine went down too.
If you were to call him Mr. J, then people would get confused.
Speaking of confused, let me tell you what happened when that basketball player came out. Whew.
That's like your best story.
It is my most popular story, and it is quite a fun story. It was a fun day on the internet for me. We're not here to talk about silly stuff that's happened to me. We're here to talk about HeroClix. I think I'm taking a page from the Dial H from HeroClix for HeroClix book. This week in HeroClix has been a little bit light for myself. How about you guys?
Very light, as in nothing.
Jay, what about you?
My friend who is normally in law school is off, so we actually managed to get some home games in, which was good.
Cool.
Played a mix of stuff. And then we had not the last tournament of the year, but the 12 days of Clicksmith scenario that I lifted for my friend's venue in Indiana. I guess I'll name drop it because I appreciate it. Game night. So basically what you had to do is if you wanted to have theme, you had to have a theme team normally. And then there was one different power requirement for each of the 12 days of the song. So like one requirement was flurry and one requirement was whatever. So we ended up we were supposed to have 8 players, but then Sharif couldn't show last minute. But we had an interesting mix of teams. One of the requirements was dolphin symbols. So both X-Men builds that got played had Darwin because that's the only option. And because Darwin is also just good. And then 3 people had pick-a-power characters. I had Jakeem. Glenn had Jakeem, and then Emily had the Avengers Defenders War Super Rare Iron Man. So there was 3 pick-a-power characters out of 7 players and 2 Darwin. So that was not necessarily the most fun for the pick-a-powers, but what can you do? And I got to play some games. And then I don't know what we're doing. I think we have, what's our next tournament? It's like the 29th or the 30th, so Glenn will come up with some sort of end of 2018 scenario, so that should be fun. And I managed to throw in some extra prizing yesterday, which was good.
Have they fixed the wind's capacity to searches yet?
I've not had any problems with the wind as of recently.
Really? Because like I've had an issue where you're just trying to look up local games. If I look for stores specifically, I can find things. But if I just search my local area, it always comes back with an error. Am I the only one? I guess I'm the only one.
I mean, I have heard of some sort of wind issues before. Recently, but I don't know specifically.
Sometimes it's one of those situations where you didn't allow the website to get your location. Sometimes that happens. I personally, in order to avoid that problem, if it's a store I regular at, I just follow the store, and then you go into your follows and click on the store, and you're good to go.
True, I do that too, but I don't know. I mean, it's things kind of sneak up.
It's not letting me search either. That's weird. It just asks for postal code, and I put it in.
Does it actually ask for postal code, or is it saying zip code and you're trying to put in a postal code?
I've tried a lot of variations.
Oh, is it? I mean, I'm sure Tom has done. I'm saying I'm also getting errors, so Tom is not alone apparently.
Sweet.
All right. Well, apparently we're going to do tech support for WizKids from now on. Also, while we're at it, Tom KJ once again wants Drake. So. We're going to completely tell him no.
I'm just not cool enough. I mean, I'm a HeroClix player.
Drake isn't cool enough either. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah, I think you'll find Drake's fairly cool.
Sure. All right.
I'm gonna make that a New Year's resolution.
I'm
Learn
sitting-
something, Drake, on the natural lead sound on the synthesizer.
All right. All right. I guess it's time to get to news. News is the thing, and most of the news surrounds The Rock and the WizKids' new relationship, as it were. Now we're in what The Rock has been doing on Facebook and social media is every day for the 12 days of Christmas, they've been updating us on changes in relation to how The Rock and WizKids are going to work together, and just in general, kind of overarching differences and whatnot. Some of them are a little bit more subtle. You have to read a little deeper into them. Specifically, if I was to go into very specifics, the format rather for the Rock tournaments or the Rock level tournaments, there's something missing. Anyway, long and short of it, let's get into it. We'll go day by day and what the updates were. So day one was about maps. Tom's wonderful thing, favorite thing, the cartographer himself.
We try.
I had to make some kind of video game Halo reference with that. Was it the cartographer in Halo? Shut up.
I can't. I don't know.
So The Rock has come up with their legal for competitive play Rock maps. Now that means they are rotating certain Rock maps out, and then just general the maps themselves have been vetted for fairness, etc. For the most part. So the Rock maps that will be legal will be the Donut Shop, the Underground map, the Remote Outpost on the Mexican border. I love saying that map's name. The Amusement Park, Strange Day in the Park, Titan's Reality, Ultimate Sacrifices, Oskopnir? That one.
It's Norse, so
Skopnir. There we go.
Maybe
Belgium, Mall Hall, Crash Landing, Clothing Hall, Food Court, Staten Ferry, Arcade, Flashpoint Flood. Let them in. Those will be the legal maps. If I didn't say your map name, it ain't legal.
Did you say Hedge Maze? I thought Hedge Maze was legal.
This is where we're going. Rock maps legal for WizKids play. For WizKids play.
Okay.
Will be the Hedge Maze, Airline, the Trenches, Powell Farm, Best Friends Forever, and maps in the future. So each year beginning January 1st, 2020, one full year of maps will rotate from Rock play. I like this. I mean, it takes away... there's a point where if I was a little overwhelmed by how many Rock maps existed, and I just kind of trusted that it was going to show up on my table and be there. Now I have an actual list. So I have no problem with this. Tom?
I have no problem with it. I'm glad the Underground isn't legal for WizKids play, at least.
Yeah.
Unless I misread that. Though the Hedge Maze is also...
either. Maybe Jay's. Jay...
Yeah, go
What?
first, Jay.
Yeah.
Like, are we reading this wrong? Like, is
okay.
the one...
Yeah, so there's still a different list for Rock and WizKids.
Okay.
So like for Opens, WizKids Nationals, whatever, that is a different list from from Rock Play at the moment.
But the Rock map, does that include the WizKids ones and the Rock ones, or?
Yes, that does include the WizKids ones.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, I mean, like I say, the Hedge Maze, I'm a little surprised made its way over. But I guess it's not nearly as bad as the Underground is, because at least it's outdoor.
Well,
but
the pattern here is... There's a pattern here. It's because the Hedge Maze just came out in October.
Yeah.
Is the problem. So banning it immediately would be very problematic.
I don't know. It was only ever legal in Rock to begin with, so you're not banning it. I would have expected it to still be legal within the Rock. It's more a question of I'm surprised it got embraced for WizKids, but that's okay.
To kind of point out, Jay, not all of these maps have been made with WizKids oversight necessarily. No,
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying there's
it's not
reasons
a banning. Oh my God. Why are they banning this map already? It's WizKids looked at this and said it's not really fair, or they might have found a problem with it or found the map problematic. So,
I like Best Friends
I'm
Forever.
not disagreeing with the map list or the reasons thereof. It's a good list and a good compromise. So,
Yep.
All right. Day 2, they announced that there's going to be some rules changes. They're going to be working with WizKids to make one set of tournament rules. They're getting rid of the last round. And then tournaments will follow a chart for determining round numbers, which The Rock has been really good about. WizKids, not so much. And then other minor, Jay listed under this other minor stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to shorthand it a little bit because you said we were gonna be rushing it a little bit.
Rush a little, but at the same time, this announcement came with another announcement, if I remember correctly, or was that today? No, that's today's. Never mind. So yeah, I've never been here nor there about the last round thing. Last round won me one game because my opponent forgot he went first and attempted to run the clock, and I stomped on him because he exposed himself. And did the "oh crap, you went second all of a sudden thing. So that it's gone in my favor before. I liked the last round, to be brutally honest, but I kind of understand from a logistics point of view why it doesn't work in the grand scale of things. Tom, your thoughts?
I guess. I mean, I feel like it. I feel like it can work in the grand scale of things. I'm sorry to see last round go personally because I really like it, but I do admit that I sympathize with those who argue that last round changes the game pretty substantially because it really does. It's a very different game when you know there's last round out there. There's a whole like final chapter in the game, and I like the way that sort of changes things up, and I like the feel and the energy and the way that it makes for a lot of interesting finales, or it can make for some really interesting finales. But I also get that that's not necessarily what the HeroClix is otherwise about. And for those who think it's too big a departure, I can understand not liking it. I will be sorry to see it go, but it's not like I'm going to stop playing the game. Other than that, I think that it all makes sense. I'd be very happy for comprehensive rules for tournaments. That's cool.
Jay?
I mean, both last round and last action each have flaws. And look, it's the WizKids wants the last action to be a thing, so that's, I mean, I feel like the idea of the consequence-free last turn for the second player where you can make plays that otherwise don't work, like completely overextending yourself under normal context, is pretty problematic. But I mean, it is what it is, and I generally did prefer last round, but I do understand that there are definitely arguments against it.
I think the big argument being, of course, PAX ran overtime, and as a result, WizKids got penalized for that by PAX. I don't know the details on that. I just heard this third hand, and because of that, if you can imagine, they went overtime without last round. So I think that's a major factor in it. WizKids sees how they run the tournaments, and they want it to kind of stick to them. Also, expecting some stores, they're cool with it, and they understand, and the judges understand. But then they do sometimes, these events will run overtime, run past the store opening hours, and then the store is required to pay staff to, watch over all of us and everything like that. So I kind of get the logistics of that decision. All right, next up, day 3, pricing breakdown. So WKO points are going to be earned by Rock events, which we kind of discussed when they first made this announcement. These points are perpetual. You never lose them, and there is no rotation on them. You don't lose them after 3 years. You don't lose them after 5 years. You don't lose them after 100 years. If you're still playing HeroClix in 100 years, we'll probably see each other. I'll see you at the table. You and me, the last 2 players. All right. Once enough points have been... Okay, so it's going to be 100 points. 100 WizKids points gets you into nationals. And that's U.S. or Canadian nationals specifically. Just worth mentioning.
I copied it from the direct announcement.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That is an important thing. That it's U.S. and Canadian nationals only. I'm guessing because The Rock only has so much of a reach as it stands right now. And it's 200 points gets you into Worlds. And when I say gets you in, it's that whole explanation. And Worlds and Nationals is usually 2 days, 1 day to qualify for the main event, and then the second day to be in the main event. So, also, part of the prizing will include boxed Con LEs. Those bagged Con LEs are the WKO prized figures, also known as the redials or the resculpts, and ID cards, as well as other Con exclusive figures. I've also noticed that there's full Mighty Thor Prime chase sets being mentioned in some pricing breakdowns. So Neat.
I mean, you jumped the gun on that, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. If they're gonna put prizing in 2 different places, I mean, come on. Oh, it's part of states provincials. Never mind. Which is the next thing. Anyway, so WKO points. Anything really to mention? Break down. Oh, and of course the new prize kit pricing being added to the prize kits for events. Tom.
I have no comment. It's fine.
Yeah. Jay.
More is good? Question mark? Anybody want to argue that? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. All right. So next up, we move to state provincials. Yeah, I kind of jumped the gun. The Mighty Thor Chase Prime sets will be included as prizing for the events. Now, I believe once rotation hits, they will be kind of middle to old once rotation hits, but that they still get a full year's worth of life out of them, which is good.
I mean, they're
if you
still
get all
quite valuable.
Especially if you get all the objects with them. Like
Exactly.
You'll get some good use out of that.
Now, to explain as well, I'm going to explain this in a second, but but you don't mention it here in the monthly map. Okay, sorry. There's going to be 2 state and provincial tournaments for 2019. The first is going to be constructed and will take place April 12th, 13th, 19th, and 20th. It just says the first is going to be constructed. It doesn't say what the second one's going to be.
Howard did mention in his announcement that there was going to be a second wave of sealed, I think.
Yeah, cool. I'm cool with that. That puts more money in store pockets, puts more money in WizKids pockets, of course. So nobody is unhappy with that, except for players. In some cases, $30 can be a little pricey for us Canadians. Anyway, and the Mighty Thor Chase Prime sets will be included in the prizing, but they will be drafted from the prizing in order of the top 12 players, I believe it is.
Yeah, because 8 chases and 4 primes.
Yeah. Now, I'm 50-50 on this one for a number of reasons. Maps and dice are also going to be exclusive to this event. So the maps for states are going to be exclusive to states. Same with the dice. Now, here's my concern about the Mighty Thor Chase Prime set being drafted in the manner in which it will be. This forces anybody not in the top 2 to wait.
True.
And it's...
Well, is that true?
Okay, this is a nitpick at its finest because first place gets first pick, right?
Fair.
So, there's ways you could arrange it where somebody comes up with their top X picks, and if the top X picks found their way down to 12th place, okay, cool. But realistically, this does mean if you get knocked out in the top 16, you're in 8th to 12 or 9th to 12th. You're waiting for a top 8, you're waiting for top 4, and you're waiting for top 2. Or even more so if you don't cut to a top 16, you're going to cut to a top 8, and you're somewhere below that. It's going to be on the store to tell everybody who's got to wait. So it's I'm up in the air on this. I mean, this does mean play battle royales, guys, which is good for the stores. But
and there are battle royale maps, so that's something.
It's a semi unfortunate hostage situation that you're stuck in. Like if I make it to the top 8, I get bumped out in the top 8, and the store just hands me the last couple. Team Worlds, I left after we lost in the top 4, so because I wanted to get water, food, and die. So,
well, not a perfect example because you could have come back, but I mean, in a lot of cases,
I was able to come back and everything like that. That was a convenience factor, but long and the short of it, that's my big takeaway on this one. I'm going to shut up now, Tom. What do you think?
I think that you're right. I think that is a concern. It depends on the context a lot, but if we drive to Montreal to participate in an event, and it's the 3 of us in the car, and we all get knocked out in the top 8, as we always do. It's if we've got to drive 6 hours home, including drop-offs and stuff like that, do I really want to stick around for another 2 hours just to, if we're low on the list, so that there's a possibility that I might get a piece I already have or something I don't really want? I mean, it's a hard sell. Admittedly, I think it's a net positive because I think it's good. Yeah. I think it's great that the pricing is there. So I don't want to sound like I'm poo-pooing. But I think your point is well made.
Nit on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is a bit of a concern. I would say though that we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that like it's great that they've got that kind of prizing
Yeah.
oomph behind the states and provincials. I think that's awesome. I love the fact they're doing two sets of states and provincials. So it's a very much a net positive with a little caveat.
Yeah. Jay?
Yeah, and you can also do cost analysis and figure if you're 16th, you're getting a red leader. That's basically worthless. You can just go. So it doesn't hurt everybody, but it's also nice that you can place third. So obviously Thor goes first. No question about it. Beta Ray Bill second, and then you basically have your choice of any one other of the six for third or fourth. Like that's pretty good.
I love Jay's reasoning on this.
I'm missing
Math.
Chases and Thor, so you're wrong.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm missing several things that I would choose because I have Beta Ray Bill and Thor. So
Right, but I'm saying
that like a jerk, but ideally in a perfect world, I get my Thor, I sell Mjolnir for $200 and then go buy the other ones because they're all $25 each. Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
but
yeah, once you get past looking at the value, once you get past like fourth, it's you don't necessarily want to wait a couple hours, but still, net positive is a good way to put it.
Right.
Yeah. And then worth also, like I said, comes from collections. So if I'm in 12th place, because 16th place isn't getting anything, if I'm in 12th and I don't have a red leader somehow, I want a red leader. I'm waiting, right? And I'm forced to.
Yeah, and also, and I'm pretty sure at that point you could basically all agree that 12th will take their red leader and go because there's no chance any other scenario happens.
And here's what happens: 8th place is like,
But yeah, it is odd though. Like it's because I know maybe not everyone's like this, but certainly I am, and I know other people that are. When you're in tournament mode, you're not really in the mode to sort of sit and nickel and dime like the prizing and try to figure that stuff out. Like when you're still in, you're focused on playing and you're focused on your team, you're focused on the tournament. So the guy who's like, so what are we doing with the prizing here? And I'm like, don't talk to me about it. Let me get knocked out and then we'll talk about it. So yeah,
you don't care about prizing at all, so you're the exception.
Tom fights so hard for the figure. Like when I was talking to you and Steve, like what figure are we gonna make? He's just like, I think we should make whatever.
I have no opinion on the matter.
You had absolutely zero opinion on the matter. And then it came down to me and Steve, and I said Shao Lao, and his eyes lit up. I was like, yes! And then we lost, so.
Next year. I'm sure they won't make it.
Yeah, next year. I should have shut my mouth. All right, but yeah. So it's good that there's more prizing, and we spent way too much time picking the massive, biggest of nits.
Fair.
And so it just means if I get in the top 12 on Battle Royaling, shucks, I get to play more HeroClix, guys.
I'm going to stand next to the tables and watch.
Yes, as Tom does. It was funny when at one point I was at a top table and people started crowding on like, uh-oh. This is the part of the tournament where people start doing this, isn't it?
Isn't that cool? It's a good feeling.
No, it's not.
I like it. I think it's cool.
I've lost every tournament that I had a crowd around me. I lose with an audience. All right, day 5. They mentioned the monthly map VIG program. That's your subscription service, if I remember correctly. Subscribers will get a map early, as well as other perks, previews of upcoming maps, first chance at restock items. They're running a store.
Yeah. Hey, it's good for those who care.
There's a bunch of other stuff. Like there's what else? There's the newsletter. You get like design insights from the designer. You get to buy variant maps, like they said, like a day or night sort of thing, or what if the map had snow? There's a bunch of cool perks.
It's also a world in which, like, when people want to just be supportive of something, then this gives them, a reward for doing it. And oftentimes the reward is just being in support, but it's nice to get something else with it. That's what like Patreon's all about. The real reward is supporting something that you love.
Yeah. Thanks, patrons. Sorry, I couldn't get a patron to hang out this month. 2 of them next month, and one of them's gonna have Tom and Jay. They're about to find out.
Nice.
I have to clear my schedule. Mika, where are you going?
We're gonna we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so
that's it for the announcements, right?
Yeah. So Jay, are you planning on subscribing to this?
Shipping is expensive,
Nope.
And also we all know I don't play enough to justify any of that, and I'm not paying money specifically to lend stuff out. So, because Canadian, no.
I think the positive way Jay was trying to put this is, if this appealed to me, I'd be all over it.
If I was Canadian, it would be a yes.
I feel like I might. I feel like I might support
God, I hate that I had to go on this next day with after that. So on day 6, they announced that there's a new Rock head judge. Tom, you might know this guy. You might know this guy, Tom. I don't know. He's a pretty okay guy. I know him. He's been on this show a few times. His name's Jay. Jay, you're the head judge of The Rock.
Hi.
And because to maintain our bias, you're fired.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
just kidding. Love you, Jay. How's it feel, Jay?
Good.
Cool.
It's cool. Having a
It is
job
cool.
in the. It is cool. I'm working on some stuff. Yeah, we'll see what the future holds, but it's good to, especially now that there's the whole WizKids thing. It feels good to be almost a WizKids employee. So, fun stuff.
They don't have employees. they have contractors and volunteers. Don't fool yourself. But you do now currently share a title with one Mr. Patrick Yaboko. So you have that to live up to.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah.
Congratulations, Jay.
Congrats.
Thanks.
It'll be great.
We're also enthusiastic. Yeah.
I'm
Take
enthusiastic.
it or leave it.
It's not so much a lack of enthusiasm as it is a lack of surprise. You earned it, buddy.
But also the problem is that it was kind of leaked early because somebody found the doc because they put it up before they did all the announcements.
Yeah.
So we've already
Well,
known about this. Yeah.
somebody found the doc because somebody shared it when they shouldn't have. It wasn't exactly an elite hacker team that went looking for the
No, it was just on the website.
It was on Google Docs. Somebody hit the share public button.
This is an Ocean's 11 style heist. That was fun.
I'm not making fun of you. It's just an observation. It's like this is not an elite level hacker who's got their system down and out and everything like that. So
That's funny.
It was nice that the announcement happened by today because that worked out.
yeah.
Mm.
I do want to say once again, congratulations on that, Jay.
Yeah, 100%.
You worked your off for that. Like you worked hard.
Nice
to get
censorship.
That.
What?
So yeah, I personally censored that. Like I outed the breath on me. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might. Yeah. There's only like one other thing to note: the judge test. Well, actually, there's two things to note, but one's the judge test. The announcement for that will be coming. I don't know if it's going to be the day after the 12 days announcements, but it's going to be coming after the 12 days announcements at some point in time. As to when the test is.
Was that statement? I don't know if it's going to come after the 12 days announcement, but I know it's going to come after the 12 days announcement.
I don't actually know. It is going to come out at some point between now, between when the 12 days are over and the end of the universe. I'm also working on a second project, which I'm not going to talk about, which is not that whelming, but it's still kind of cool. But we'll see when we get there.
It will leave us whelmed.
Yes.
You'll be like,
over,
cool.
whelmed.
That's worth celebrating with. I don't know. Did somebody have like a beer that was left open overnight? I don't know. But it'll get there when it gets there.
Hair of the dog that bit you. That's what they say, right?
Yeah, where are we here?
All right.
Are we over yet? Is that the end of the 12 days?
That is 6 of the 12 days of Clicksmith that we got from The Rock. Unfortunately, we won't finish up on the last 6 until we get out of the holiday season, which will be the January whatever's after December 31st. I think it's just January 7th or something like that. So that said, it's time to wrap up the year as we do with a bunch of lists.
Hooray! The best part of the year.
The best. It is one of our favorite parts of the year. This is always a mixture of laughter, arguing, and all sorts of things. I'm hoping, because we do have, what we're going to cover is our top 5 favorite figures, our one least favorite figure of 2018. All this is about 2018.
Holding it to one, and it's not an easy thing to do.
I hope Tom puts one specifically because of an incident, but I don't think he's going to.
I don't think I am either then,
But
because the one I've chosen
right.
is not incident based.
I am I'm going to give one honorable mention on that one before we start that one then. Anyway, and we're also going to talk about our favorite moment from 2018. And then we're also going to say favorite set from 2018, and then our least favorite set from 2018, our least favorite moment from HeroClix in 2018, and yeah, we're also going to talk about our Clicks Year's resolution, what we're looking forward to in the year 2019 from ourselves or the game of HeroClix. So we're kind of hoping that this turns out to be a lot of fun. Also in the new year, just as a heads up, our patrons, just before we go into the questions sequence, you guys will be getting a link. We're going to be doing a call-in show to replace the fact that there's not going to be any more filmed content for early access. So just wanted to also warn Tom and Jay on that one publicly.
Oh, God.
I've been making a bunch of changes, and I clearly noted that my fellas don't watch my show. It's all good. All right, guys.
We're so well informed. It's great.
It's time to talk about our top 5 favorite figures of 2018. We're all going to start with our number 5. And I'm going to start with mine. Mine is a bit of a joke, but a bit of a... She hits me in the heart so well, and she hits you in the face even harder. And guys, I cannot believe she costs the points that she does. If you don't know who I'm talking about Little Miss Molly Hayes.
Aw, that's what I thought you were going for.
25 points, 5 clicks of health. That's right, 25 points. These stats, she's a sealed goddess. She almost got replaced by another common. I love her to death. I love her little hat. I love her little teddy bear. Does she have a teddy bear on this one? I can't remember. Nope, she doesn't. I'm wrong. I love her little shirt. I love that she reminds me of my oldest daughter. She's just fantastic. I love her to death. Little Miss Molly Hayes. That's my number 5.
Good choice.
Tom.
All right. Well, before I start, a brief word on how I put this list together, because, of course, can't not talk way too much. I labored over it, probably more than I should have. Because
you kept texting me all night. Jay, I don't think my list is good enough. Like, Tom, your list is fine.
Well, the thing was that on the one hand, like this is the Meta Lab, so I felt that it should be at least somewhat competitively oriented. So I wanted to keep. I didn't want to just put frivolous things that I liked. I wanted to keep it somewhat in the competitive realm, but also still with a focus on things I enjoy. I wanted to actually play it, and I looked at my year in review and realized that I really didn't play that much HeroClix this year, relatively speaking. Certainly it was a very successful year for me, but it wasn't. I didn't have nearly as much of a time to burn through a lot of the sort of the peripherals and extras. So it was a hard list to put together to think of things that I'd really had a chance to flesh out and that I liked and that were competitive, but that were also fun and primarily did a good job. So with that preamble out of the way, then the number 5 for me is, let me see if I can also figure out how to screen share here. Yeah,
top
application
right,
window.
little dots.
Yep, got it. So the for me, the thing that I was looking for was this year gave us another variant of a piece that we've already seen way too often for the last several years, and we kind of figured, could they knock it out of the park again? And as far as I'm concerned, they did. A few people don't agree with me, but as far as I'm concerned, even if you don't have any attack and even if you don't have any damage, you can still pull your weight if you've got all kinds of awesome support, your survivability, and fit onto a lot of great teams. And of course, I'm talking about Unseen. Can you see Unseen? Is it up there?
Can't see. I can't. No, I'm just kidding. I'm doing John Cena joke.
Nah, that's good. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Anyway, there's not a lot to say about the Unseen because we've all ironically seen quite a lot of him, but he's one of these pieces that I think that some people are obviously resistant to pour 65 points into something that doesn't have any attack or damage. But I would strongly encourage anyone who hasn't had the opportunity yet, just try him out. He's actually, the thing that you may miss is that he's a lot of fun to play because it's really fun to he's a pure positioning piece. And with the combination of the movement and the ability to lay down the smoke cloud, wherever it's going to be useful. And then being able to get into positions where you can make best use of your probability control and your outwit with one terrain type that you can't ignore, and so you have to be sort of sensitive to that. You can do, and of course the Colossal Retaliation thing is just a passive, but everything else about him is really it rewards clever play, or rewards smart placement. He's the sort of piece that has a nice passive effect, but he's not defined by his passive effect, and he's not so invincible just because he's got stealth and super senses and outwit, and he's outwit proof. That doesn't make him invincible. He's still only 4 clicks deep. The 18 defense is hittable. You can't get overzealous with him, but it rewards a certain degree of smart play, and he fits onto a lot of teams with those keywords. So I think there's just very little not to like about the Unseen.
All right, Jay.
I don't even want to bother screen sharing. Whatever. Okay. You picked a runaway, Jason's. I guess I picked a runaway. And wait, how do I do this? Wait.
I think I know where this is going.
Share screen.
Princess Powerful from the Fast Force.
No, Alex Wilder. Because
that makes more sense.
I mean, just this style is, except for the unfortunate Darwin interaction, which doesn't matter because nobody plays Darwin, but just the sheer utility and the sheer frustration your opponent will have at their decision making every single turn and trying to figure out what's not good and good to give you. And he's surprisingly annoying with the Mastermind, Shape Chain Stealth, and then your opponent will get him, but then you can probably, if you plan, easily score him back, so he doesn't even really have a net negative of being scored because you both score the 25 points. So that's pretty cool, and also can prevent 0 loss, automatic double losses or whatever. So that's cool. But just the sheer utility, and also just having a range is kind of nice, especially because he gets good enough damage values for the points. So overall, and your keywords are workable. So overall, just you can't really go wrong with the 25-point piece that has 2 support powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys. My number 4. Imagine a world. Imagine I got you a character. She came with, I'm giving it away already, leadership. Traded.
Oh my god, I know who immediately who. Oh, sorry.
Perplex. Traded. You get an ID card for free. And what if I told you there are 2 clicks of outwit on this character? This character has the X-Men team ability. And what if I told you this character was only 25 points? I hope I got my years right. I do have my years right.
I'd say that you were crazy.
You would think I was crazy. Which means you think I'm WizKids Design Team creating Moira McTaggart.
Damn.
I cannot believe, like, I've got 50 points in 2 of my figures in top 5. This figure is bonkers. I cannot believe, like, I haven't played any X-Men teams myself, but I have seen her in action, and I have used her even in sealed and understand the absolute potential you're getting. This character is 25 points without that X-Men team ability, without that leadership and perplex trait, like this, and without that ID card even. And so all of that is just on top of an already just general support character, just making her even awesome. Now, she's a little limited. Yeah, she only works for X-Men, etc., but yeah, she's giving you an extra action for existing. She's giving you extra stats as long as you're an X-Men. Cool. I mean, I'm building her on an X-Men team. That's neat. She's adding to your ID card count while also adding the ID card that goes with it. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I would say that she's best with an X-Men, but she doesn't need to be on the scientist team. Nope. There's something to be said for leadership and an extra ID card for 25 points that you can push onto it with.
It's...
And also, she can just perplex most relevant ID cards. So,
yeah, because all the IDs are X-Men anyway.
Yeah.
So,
well, not these days, but before you would have been right.
Yeah.
So you have
a lot
Batman
of them.
enemy ones.
A lot of them are. A lot of them are.
Vast majority.
Yeah. All right, Tom, number 4.
Well,
number 4.
I don't feel the need to belabor this point because I'll be shocked if this piece doesn't find its way onto somebody else's list in a higher spot, and if I am wrong, then I will be hurt. But I will take a moment just to say that these days, it's incredible. Like Moira is a great example of what you can get for the points. For 25 points, it's crazy the kind of utility you get in a Moira. But as far as I'm concerned, 25 points seems like a lot. Sometimes you don't want to spend 25 points. Sometimes you only want to spend 20 points, and you want to have somebody that dies 3 times, that can lock your opponents down, that can gain the ability to die even more times, and is one of the most aggravating pieces in the history of HeroClix. I am, of course, talking about Mudman.
I just beat up one of these Turtles in Time on my birthday party. He's
What?
not this tough.
What an amazing piece. So again, I'll be flummoxed and flabbergasted if indeed we don't see more of this guy later, and I'll save the longer commentary for that. But frankly, a lot of it speaks for itself. Mudman, pretty darn good. Number 4.
Spoiler alert: he didn't make my list.
He wasn't for you that I was thinking.
He was very close to my list and only didn't make it because the team that I was practicing with him, I didn't actually play.
He didn't make your list, Jay. That's crazy.
He was this close, though.
Yeah, he's a real good piece, and everyone knows it.
I love that Jay says this close on a video podcast, but doesn't show the finger.
That's an expression. We all know it.
It exists in negative space. That's how close he was. All right, Jay. What was your number 4?
I went for also a 20-point piece, which I don't think I need to screen share because everybody should know it very well. It's kind of one click, not unlike the Mudman, but also just the insanity of what you can get for 20 points and 25 points these days is just crazy. So for 20 points, you get leadership, you get a retaliator, you get 2 Pogs with Flurry, you get to make more Pogs with Flurry, and he has really good keywords. And also, just what more do you want? Yeah, your opponent gets the outwit Pog, but also it has a 5 speed, and also they probably didn't necessarily plan to be able to give it actions to move and whatever. And how can you not agree that Groot is just madness?
Yes, madness.
He is absolute madness, so much so that this is not going to be the only time you hear about him on today's list.
Ooh, spoilers.
Right.
Jason's worst.
My third place has a caveat. This is not the only character I think is great because of what he is, but his mechanic is great on 12 different characters, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
This year, Batman the Animated Series showed up and introduced us the ability to have sideline without the requirement of ID cards. I am, of course, talking about the Trouble Alert trait. You're having a bit of bad dice? All right. Try to bring somebody in, maybe he'll help. And what figure is better in the situation where you're having some really nasty dice than
Superman? Oh wait, sorry.
The Atom.
Firestorm, of course, we're talking about.
Yes,
man. I
man.
don't want to give away my list there. Yeah, Firestorm is the best of, but I mean, the caveat is Trouble Alert is great. It was hard to pick one, and I didn't want to fill my list with 5 Trouble Alert characters because Trouble Alert reflects how I need this game to work.
Yeah, I would say he's pretty good for the points. Haha, little joke there. It's 0 points.
It's 0 points and a couple of misses. And you know, if you're having that miss problem, he'll help you with it. he'll give you the prob to help with the next couple dice rolls. So
he's been there before, man.
Firestorm is definitely a high consideration, and he was a major. He in a lot of the games that I ended up winning when I won the WK with my monster team, he showed up quite a bit. So, all right, Tom.
Well, sorry, excuse me. I didn't mean to start a bit of a theme going, but I think that as long as we're sticking with pieces that cost 20 points, we should just stick with pieces that cost 20 points. Now, unlike Jay, I don't feel confident not screen sharing because I feel that perhaps some people might need a refresher. So let me just find it here. This is a piece you haven't likely seen very much recently. He's called Groot. He costs 20 points. And as Jay didn't mention it earlier, he gives you some leadership, some colossal retaliation, 2 walking woods, more walking woods when he hits. He can be fit onto monster, ruler, cosmic, or guardians teams. But hey, there's an incentive not to put him on a guardians team so that he can retaliate with that solid 11 attack and just smack you around. Anyway, I don't. What more is there to add to Groot? If he isn't on everybody's list, then we're all out to lunch.
All right, Jay.
Oh, and also just one last thing about Groot. He actually at the Majestic. I know I didn't get a chance to talk about it because I wasn't here last week, but the random Leslie Evans actually screws up a lot of random strategy, which is just hilarious. So it's like, hey, you have a strategy based around only having one character or something like that. Well, you just have another random character. Deal with it.
All right, Jay.
So good.
What's your number 3?
Oh, I kind of want to switch my order around last minute because this next. Okay, you know what? Whatever.
And do
I'm
it.
changing my order slightly.
It's not sacrosanct.
Yeah,
It's not set in stone. I do have it written down, but it's not set in stone. This piece showed up a little bit. What was it? Two of them showed up in the top 16 of the Rock World Cup, unless I'm forgetting something. But for 25 points,
Wow.
You
Real
get
theme growing here, eh?
Not like I think our combined teams cost 300, or our combined top 5 so far cost less than 300 points.
None of my top 5 crack 100 points. Well, that's a
my
small
highest is 75.
Crazy, right?
This is a character that I actually just wanted to see in general.
Nice.
Unfortunately, this Power Woman is not here for the high dial, especially because you can't call her in modern games, and Rock Age is basically done. But you get the non-leadership special power. You get 18 defend. You get a enhancement. If your opponent crit hits, they cry, because that is a really strong KC dial coming out there.
Yeah.
Not easy to hit if you can park and hindering with the KC rollout. And I mean, the keywords are fine. I don't know if any of them really see competitive play. What the hell was I going to say in addition to everything else?
KC
and
+1 action.
Superman ally team ability can actually be surprisingly useful if you want to just shoot a stealth character and go for crits. And also, Shredders rotate, so KCs are actually kind of good to play again. And also the fact that you can now have KCs just try and get Trouble Alerts in because she has a range value, and there's nothing she'll be able to see that even if they have stealth, so you never know.
Nice.
Same thing with Unseen. You never know. You just want a Trouble Alert more than a Dawn-free action with your 0 damage, 0 attack character.
Good thinking.
I do like the idea of being able to have 5 actions in a turn with some teams as well. All right. We're getting towards the top. It's time for number 2. Now,
Nice.
my number 2, he not only is 20 points, but he definitely
What, are you kidding?
is terrible on a Guardians of the Galaxy theme team, but works fantastic on a Cosmic Monster or Ruler theme team or any non-theme team in general, adds 2 characters with Sidestep, Flurry, and Plasticity, gives your opponent some crappy outwitter who they'll always 9 times out of 10 forget about. Yeah, I got Groot on my number 2.
Nice. That's
Groot
awesome.
Groot is number 2 because he was a major factor in my monster team, and I love him. He's my favorite. I love him, guys. All right, Tom, what's your number 2?
Well, I was trying. It just occurred to me that I'm in the room where I can actually show the picture, because this is one of these weird things that kind of comes up every now and again in HeroClix, and I love it when it does. I was reading one of my favorite old silly comics. It's not actually that old, but it's a silly little comic from a few years back. And looking for inspiration for a fun team that we were playing in an event either late last year or early this year. And I decided to take inspiration from this part of the Lockjaw and the Pet Avengers series, in which Lockjaw gains the Infinity Gauntlet and uses it to beat up Thanos. So I took the old 50-point Lockjaw, I put the Infinity Gauntlet on him, I played him in a tournament, and within 2 weeks, they had introduced an actual Lockjaw with the Infinity Collar. And after I was lucky enough to win one, I'm amazed I've ever put it down. It is one of the, I don't feel the need to screenshot this. We all know what it's about. And frankly, some people might be getting sick of it at this point, and it may be hard to remember just what an exciting, fun, interesting, awesome piece this really is. I mean, yeah, it's really annoying. It's hard to kill. It's really effective. It's incredibly, meta viable, but it's also an awesome, cute little pooch with a cool Infinity Collar, and I'm so happy they made it, and it feels very close to my heart. So that's my number 2.
All right, Jay.
Well, thanks to my last minute switch there, Lockjaw was also my number 2.
Nice.
All right.
I mean, I didn't.
Slot.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I mean, he just fits on so many teams. Like the obvious Cosmic. There's Don't Die. Animal's not going to be a thing for the foreseeable future, but
Probably not.
he also just random teams. Huh?
He worked throwing in my team.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you just randomly threw him on the SamCap team. You never know because prob is a thing. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with a 75-point figure that needs to be hit at least 6 times.
Yeah, that is a major factor in it for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. What is our number 1 figure of the year 2018 for each of us? Now, I want to go back in time to my number 5. Now, I can take that same figure.
Not back very far in time.
A lot of the same things, you know. This character also has leadership and perplex. Also adds to while at the same time filling your ID card count. Also has 2 different ID call-ins to use with this guy. He's also very capable of attacking possibly 3 times in a single turn in the right position. He's got traded sidestep as well. And he's got, if you play him at his highest dial, multiple, or just 1 at his 50-point dial. I am talking about the Canadian content himself, Mr. Wolverine James Howlett, ladies and gentlemen. 50 points. Nice. Now, one of the major factors that made me put this guy in at number 1, the big defining factor, is if you look at the top placement in a lot of tournaments, including the ones that had this guy on their board, there was between 2 to 4 of them on some teams. This guy in multiples drove up his own cost. In addition to which, he's just a tough 50-point character. He basically helped to define this year in HeroClix. Number 1 figure in just competitive play in general, and just for all consideration, it's got to be Wolverine, and specifically at his 50-point dial. It was almost hard not to say he's so meta defining this year. So, Tom, what's your number 1?
Well, it's funny. I actually forgot. I was going to say this before, but I forgot to. This was a hard year to actually choose a top 5. Not because there were so many, but simply because there are a lot of good pieces, but not a ton that immediately jumped out at me. There were a lot of them that I was like, oh, that's really good. That's really good. That's really good. But there weren't very many pieces that were like, this piece is not only really good, but this piece is special to me. You know? So I struggled a little bit to come out with 5 things because I all think they're pretty great. But there is one piece that has been very special to me that came out this year. And I don't have any kind of really interesting introduction for it. So I'm just going to screen share. It's Batgirl, Shadow of the Bat. I've been incredibly happy with being able to play Batgirl this year. She gives so much to a team. It's crazy. I love her dial to begin with. Even if she wasn't a title character, I still think you're getting a pretty good economy at 70 points with a well-protected Batman ally, stealthy, super sensed probability control character that has sidestep and indomitable. But of course, what really defines this is all of the title effects you can get to pull off. I've had great success playing her on my Gotham team, and from the first moment that I saw her, I knew I wanted to build something around her, and I've been wanting to build something around Green Arrow for a long time. So that was 150 points, and then I just had to fill in the blanks. She gives so much. She's a great attacker. She's one of the few people that can attack after taxiing. She's an incredible support piece. She's amazingly mobile. She offers so much to a team, along with a deep dial that is well protected, all for a relatively low cost with a couple of build-friendly keywords. I just don't know what more you want. I've been waiting since they introduced title characters for a piece that I was this excited about. I mean, the first one, Deadpool, was one of my favorites ever, but the keyword probably Screw Up. I think that I don't know if those have ever been confirmed, but I think we all kind of expect that to have been the yeah, that hurt it a little bit for me, and it just something was not quite there. But her sheer versatility, along with just the sheer joy of playing her, she's one of the most fun pieces to play of the year, and the fact that she has meta potential and yet never feels like a broken piece. It never feels like the piece is playing you, but it always feels like you are happy to be playing the piece. And that's Batgirl Shadow of the Bat. I think she's the best piece that came out this year, and she's certainly the one that has been the most special to me.
All right. Jay?
I don't know why I'm here. If I just keep on repeating what Tom says.
Our list is the same.
I mean, I'm a big Batgirl fan to begin with, so just any version is good to see because I was not really happy with the random Elseworldy one we got in the Harley Quinn set, and also, yeah, competitive piece that is also never unfun to play. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for that. Yeah. So yeah, Tom list part 2 apparently.
You can. It's okay. Well, you can go before me when we do the worst, so that you're sniping me instead.
In fact, Jay's really good at this. And before we get to Jay starting off the worst figures of the year, I always want to share from the Discord when Mr. Lucas Van Holland,
yes,
who has a couple of his own shares. His favorite moment of 2018 was Gen Con this year and buying a new Fin Fan Foom for $50.
That is awesome.
Figure this year was Starro, beautiful sculpt and genuinely fun to play.
True.
And his favorite person in HeroClix this year was Tom Kerr. He's genuinely amazing as a person and truly loves the game. He's had a good year and he's totally earned it.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Your fan club is huge, Tom.
Yeah, there's one. I have one person in the fan club. No, thank you. Thank you. That's great.
All right. Jay, what is Jay's least favorite figure of 2018?
It's really funny because if it wasn't for that random scenario, I probably would have had a different list or a different pick because I was out of the mud, man. All the pogs in TMNT's Fast Forces are awful, but I actually used the boxing bot because in that scenario I mentioned I needed Flurry. So I have actually played the boxing bot on, ironically. So I am going to share this one because it is just... I kind of feel bad about the pick because I realize there is technically a single use for this figure, but also it's never actually going to happen. This was a previewed figure, and we were all trying to figure out not terrible things to say about it. I wonder if anybody can guess at this point.
I know who I want you to pick, so I just want to see if I'm right. You've
just
Venom on this piece before.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Like, come on.
That's not what I was thinking.
Oh, okay. What did you think it was? Or what did you think it was going to be?
Well, let's finish our lists.
Oh, it's on your list. Okay,
no, it's not.
Like,
but
yeah, you can give Unimind Force Blast. Like, yeah, there's a technical use there, but like,
good one, Jay.
Come on. Like, especially considering that there's so much overlap with the Star Fox in the same set as far as Unimind power picking, and also a starting 9 attack.
His attack never drops.
To be fair, his attack never drops. Tom isn't wrong. And you can get a 10 with the Infinity trait, but just the fact that this piece is a rare is just the last straw for me because if this is your sealed pull, I feel really bad for you. Really, really bad.
To be fair, he can get +1 movement. So,
oh
that's sweet team ability.
Yeah, and that, honestly, though, I think it's just worth it to play him with Unimind. Just that last click. That last God click. Not quite as bad as Con Thanos, at least. So that's technically something. Man, what a piece of crap.
Yeah, well done.
All right, Tom.
You see, every other year that I've done this, I feel like we've had like a top 5. So it's been fun to create like different flavors of bad. You can have your like bad because it was a poor representation of the character, and bad because it's unplayable, or bad because it takes a good idea and stomps all over it. But with only one to choose from, I really, really was struggling.
The negativity in the new year.
It's not negativity. It's so much fun.
It is fun.
But
I was honorable mentions as well.
Yeah, we'll do that after. I was really struggling with a couple, so I'm looking forward to my honorable mentions. But honestly, in the end, if I just had to straight up be like, what piece? It's not so much that I wish it wasn't made, but what piece isn't worth the plastic it's printed on? And I actually went with a piece. I went with a piece that no one ever talked about. In fact, I'm reasonably certain no one knows it exists. And the reason no one knows it exists is that it is completely and utterly useless. Almost every bad piece you can think of some situation where you might want to play it. The only list that this is ever going to make, besides the worst of the year, is the list of ID characters I will never, ever even consider playing.
I gotta change mine.
I know who this is.
Oh, it is.
It's Skids.
Oh no!
It's Fast Forces Skids. Now, here's the reason why you were all like, "Oh no, well, I didn't even think of this one." Of course you did. Because who would ever think of this one? Look at this. Now, there are, 5 clicks of life for 50 points is pretty common these days. What's less common is to see no powers on the attack with a single 10 attack that drops like a stone. Less common to see no powers on the damage with a 2 damage that drops like a stone. And nothing on the movement except a bit of sidestep. So you're thinking, boy, I'll bet that she's got a pretty good trait. Well, she doesn't. She has a trait that says when she hits with an attack, modify damage +1 for every 5 in the attack roll. Same as everybody else in that Fast Forces. Okay, great. I might be able to do 3 damage. I might be able to damage another Skids. So the only thing she's got left is she must have a sweet defense power, bro. And you'd be wrong. It's more invulnerability. It's just another click of invulnerability. It does have prop control, but only to target an opponent's attack roll with a 5 that's targeting her. I did the math on it. That's about a 25% chance that she can maybe use Prob to re-roll the attack that's never going towards her anyway. No one's ever targeting Skids with an attack unless she's the last thing on the board and you forgot about her because she's no use to anybody. And also, she's not on the map. She'll never, ever hit the map. I was like, Mastermind fodder? I'm like, there's a lot better Mastermind fodder for 50 points. Call in to do nothing? I was like, shit, 25 points. Maybe I could call her in with a 25-point character, and then she could try to hit you with a 9 attack, 1 damage. At least she's invulnerable and has a prop control she can never use aggressively or to use to support the rest of your team. She does, for some reason, have improved movement, and I guess improved movement cost 48 points because this dial costs 2. With those, I can't wait to just round out my new Mutants and X-Factor teams with this awesome piece of plastic. So yeah, everyone forgot that this Skids existed. It's probably best that we keep it that way. This is the most uninspired piece of the entire year, and for that alone, it's my pick for the worst.
You see, the thing about Skids, and I'm doing this as a lead into mine.
Yes, I
At
figured.
least they have the pleasure of warning you she's coming because they put her in the Fast Forces. Similar to yours, and similar situation where nobody talks about this character. Some people forgot he was in this set, and also has an ID card ain't nobody using. I have to put... he's even got a traded power that's a non-factor because he's basically trash. I am, of course, talking about Artie.
Yes.
I don't hate him. It's just me. He's got mind control and shape change, and he's tidy.
Well, it's... the thing is, I'm not calling him in. I pull him in a pack, and sealed, I'm angry because I'm not using him. And if I am calling him in, and I got a headmaster, almost none of the headmasters I want to use can perplex him. Because he's Generation X, Morlocks, New Mutants, and X-Factor. I would be forced to use the uncommon Magneto to get any stats on this guy from the standard X-Men strategies that we're looking at, unless I go with generic Perplex. He just doesn't fall into the X-Men. He's just dead weight. He's filling a slot where they said, we haven't made an Artie yet, so this isn't on Clicks figure.
Have they really? Yeah, they never made one back when they made the Leech the first time, eh?
And here's the other thing. Here's the other egregious thing. Look at that figure. This is just an excuse to resculpt Leech.
Yes.
And Leech does stuff, I want to point out. So,
yes.
Artie, even though he's easy to call in, I'm not calling him in. And I'm just putting him... He's just not even for consideration on anything I've ever done. Even in my everyman format, I'm like, well, you could call in Artie. Yeah, don't spend those 3 points.
No.
Unless you
Even
really need Moira McTaggart on your team. Like, all right.
Yes.
Our list, obviously, this is a hard list to make, our least favorite, and there were some honorable mentions, some things we probably can't pass over or can't ignore their existence of. And I'm going to put mine as an egregious full set of problem, and that set was. Oh wait, it said it didn't come out this year. All right, I'm not gonna say anything then. This
Oh,
was
very
last
nice.
year's problem. All right, this year. What if you got saved a second year of FUs? Can we
fair
go back to a year though and talk about Daredevil again?
Yeah. Oh God, so many bad
Jesus.
Daredevils.
Why did I have so many Daredevils? TMNT4 was hard to overlook on this. I looked at this set a lot and said, I liked this set I'm a Ninja Turtles fan. I am angry about the design of this set and the just general way the dials went in this set. It was like the only thing we play from it is Mudmen. I tried the Fast Force thing. It didn't go so well.
I think they have potential, and those Footly Boomerang are gonna make their impact. I tell you.
Oh God.
Don't lie to yourself like
man.
that.
No, they're good. They are really good. And the Shredder from the Fast Force is good too. I mean,
Both Shredders are good.
yeah, both Shredders are good. But I agree. Like it was a set that you aired towards when you tried to look for some of the worst. But honestly, of my other honorable mentions, none of them are from that set. They're a lot, like I had what I would have given the I see what you were going for, but you failed miserably award. Would go to our friend the Iron Patriot from the Avengers Infinity.
Yep.
Everyone who forgot about this 80-point master of nothing is like. It's one of these things where again I kind of get it. Like it's well defended. He doesn't push. He's a taxi. Got good movement. Invincible and indomitable. Well defended dial for the most part. With perplexity, even increase the defense if he needs it. The whole point being here, it's it's a she by the way. But this character is intended to do everything except really hurt people. So dual target in cap is cool. Smoke cloud's fine. Force blast is kind of neat. Defend is good especially with that upfront defend or upfront 18. But it just isn't worth 80 points, man. Like this is just I wish that they almost got this wrong and that it was actually 60 points because it might be worth talking about. But again, like I see what they were going for, but they didn't get there, and that's really quite sad. Do you want to?
Wait, you mean you're not gonna? Wait. So you're saying 80 points isn't worth it? So you're saying you wouldn't just play your Gotham team again and replace Green Arrow with this? Is that what you're saying?
Well, maybe if I was going for more of a losing team, I might consider it.
If not winning was a strategy.
I do have another honorable mention, although, Jay, you're welcome to go if you'd like.
Jay, did you have anything you wanted to throw on, or are we going to go back to Tom there? Jay? Can you guys not hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, Jay is stuck in position, so I think he's Skyping out on us. All right, Tom,
okay.
Go ahead while Jay gets.
Oh, you completely froze on me, or my internet is the Canadian
one of us
internet.
froze. One
of us
froze.
did. Okay. Do you have anything else to say there, Jay?
Oh, I have a couple honorable mentions. I don't know you're gonna let me do, but I guess I can cross off Artie because you already talked about him. So no.
Yeah,
Artie.
you go first because there's a piece that none of us have mentioned that I was convinced would be on one of our lists. So go. Let's see if it's one of your honorable mentions, Jay.
I'm gonna go with the one that is technically functional, but I just don't see a reason to ever play it. Actually, there's two that are like that, but I feel like I don't know. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go. Okay, I have a very specific reason for going for this next one. I'm gonna go with I didn't want to put a Batman animated series figure on this list, but I kind of had to because just for the points, 2 damage.
Yeah.
75 points.
Yeah.
And also, once retirement hits, this is the only Two-Face option we have with ID card. That is a con. Like, I understand that it does some stuff, but, like, I feel like it's just so overcosted. Like, I would pay 50 points for this. Is that fair?
Yeah. It's funny because every now and again, there are pieces that I look at them and I immediately, instinctually think they're going to be a point cost, and then I'm shocked when I discover that there's something else. And he's a good example. I don't know how many times I've looked at this dial and thought, 60 points. Oh, and that's how far it goes. And then I realized I can't play him.
Like, the dial itself doesn't offend me in any particular way. It's just the cost is so off.
Yeah.
Like, 2 printed damage for 75, and like, yeah, if you roll 2s, but also if you roll like a 2 and a 3, you just miss, but I got the damage, but I just missed. It's like, I don't know.
Right.
And I also feel like, on the same note, if they gave it a second target because thematic, but also just to be able to maybe hit more things with low rolls, I don't know. I wish this costed like way less points.
We have been called out on Artie. We have been called out where PJ and Lane used him on their Blackbird teams.
Perfect.
Great. They used it to move the resource dial.
Told you. He's got uses.
You know what, though? Then Skids can do the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, God. So bad. I've got invulnerability and nothing else. That's great. Oh, God.
Turn 1, call in, move the dial, go.
Skids. Waste.
Yeah, and just the fact that you can actually do good stuff with any of those other 25 pointers, like, no. Poor Skids.
All right, I got to jump on this because I can't hardly believe that nobody, when talking about just like you mentioned something when you were talking about Star Fox, which is that it's particularly offensive when you get a bad piece in your rare slot. Because it's bad and sealed. It's even worse, or not maybe not worse, but it's just as bad when you're just opening your packs and you're like, ooh, what were my rares? What were my super rares? And you get handed just a big old bag of trash. And that was this. Like, if you were playing sealed and you opened your booster and you gently took it out, watching each figure reveal itself to you one at a time, and thought, well, this is the type of set where I'm going to be playing most of my pulls. So I hope I get a real cool super rare. Oh, great! It's Professor X Dreamer.
Oh,
good for me. What? Like, I would argue the worst title character ever made. Just abysmal for 50 points. A bad dial, incredibly poorly defended. Really bad decision making as far as even a Professor X who doesn't have mind control until the end of the dial. And the mind control is about the only thing that you could reasonably do to try to rack up plot points without taking damage, because you're never going to put this guy out there in the fight. And with a 7 range that doesn't ignore anything, then he's not any use to anybody. He's not even a very good X-Men healing battery. And I can't remember, it's when he dies, what happens for the rest of the game? It's everyone else gets +1 damage or something? Yes.
Your opponent's, yeah,
+1 damage.
The worst title win KO ever?
Yeah, and on the worst dial and worst powered title character there's ever been. Like this is my other major contender for worst of the year. I think Skids offends me more because I feel like nobody thought about it, whereas this one offends me because I feel like they did think about it, and then they just toned it down to a crazy degree, thinking that those title powers were better than they were, but they really aren't, because you can only do them when you're making attacks, and you're never making attacks with this guy, because if he's close enough to be making attacks, he's already dead. And your opponent now has +1 damage for the rest of the game. Like he's a blight upon title characters. So yeah. He's my other one.
Lord of Ty has been called out by Lucas Van Holland because apparently they used Rusty and not Artie. So
I'll tell you who they didn't use. Skids.
I do have to go to the Batman the Anime Series for one. And Tom, along the same lines as, oh my god, I pulled this as a super rare.
Right.
There is one blight in that set. One nasty little thing you do not want to pull as your super rare, be it sealed or anything like that. He didn't make the least favorite because it's not so egregious. He is kind of combative to a certain degree, but I'm lying to you in any case. It is the robot Minotaur.
Yeah.
It's neat for 60 points. But then, and it's even cheaper if you have a Riddler who's better and hard to hit, like almost impossible if you know how to manipulate the numbers.
Yeah,
but
he would be a good uncommon, you know.
He's a great uncommon figure. Why is he super rare?
Yeah.
So, I think that one it was the rarity that killed me on that one because he's just so generic and yet just so ugh.
Yeah.
And also in the Discord, Lucas has pointed out a couple things. First of all, he's adding to the fun, and he pulled in Team Nationals. He pulled 2 Star Fox's, so he shares your hate, Jay.
Oh man.
Oh no! Oh my god!
His least favorite character would be the Prime She-Hulk on personal reasons. Apparently, he's missed 6 attacks in a row with her.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's not bad, but all right, fair enough.
And then his least favorite actual figure would be the Commissioner Gordon from Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, bland. Again, like, you know, you how many opportunities do you have to make a cool Batman Animated Series Commissioner Gordon? And this is what you came up with.
Yeah.
Good stuff, guys.
Especially when we have the one from Joker's Wild, who's fantastic.
True.
Oh, he's a thing.
Yeah.
He casts a long shadow.
Yeah.
All right. All right. It's time. What is, of 2018, our favorite set? It's this is a hard one. This is a lighter year for sets. If we talk about full sets, we had X-Men, Avengers Infinity, TMNT 4, Batman the Animated Series, Secret Wars Battleworld. There's 5 sets this year. It's not like previous years where I've needed to pull out the extra fingers and the toes.
Right, it's wacky, eh?
So they heard us when they said, we'll lighten up on the sets. But that also made this particular part of the list a little difficult.
Well, I think a lot of the sets were really good. Like, it was not only light, but it was a lot of strong stuff.
Absolutely. So if I was to pick an actual personal favorite set of the year, I'm going with Avengers Infinity. Because of the spectrum that it covered. It gave us some really neato commons, some really neato uncommons, some neato rares. The super rares were cool. The chase had a really cool theme to them, and they're all very similar in their own ways, but different as well. And all kind of functional in their own ways, to say the least. Some of them even seeing some major competitive play. Moondragon and Star Fox specifically. As well, they gave us Colossals and Vehicles all in a single set in our standard boosters. We weren't like starved by putting them one per brick with super boosters. They were in the packs with everything else, and we were able to get our hands on them. In fact, a good portion, a good selection of the World Champions team came from this set. And I think because it covers such a wide gamut of really cool stuff across the set, it really appealed to me as a guy who likes when games are make something really cool, and like it's a little gimmicky, but the gimmick worked for me. So, what do you think, Tom?
I don't know, Jay. Do you want to go first on this one, since I think we have the same answer?
Okay. Well, this set has. First of all, I like keyword cheating. And there's 2 figures in the set that can be literally played on any team. And one of these figures solves the Spider-Man problem of no wild cards, because I will throw Suited Henchman on every single Spider-Man team until and ever made, probably with the rare. We have the Killer Croc Batman. We had the best title character ever. And if anybody argues, they are not named Tom. We have 3 champion figures in one set, which is amazing. And Hawkman Hawkgirl is just amazing and possibly my favorite at this point. We have this insane Zatanna, who definitely will see competitive play at some point, because how could it not? Because it's, oh my god, amazing. And Trouble Alerts, which are just their own category. And also most of the source of call-ins for the Batman related ID cards. And on top of that, equipment objects, all of which are good. I mean, the Christmas present isn't the best, but also the Venom Harness saw a bunch of play. Batarang is good in the context of the Batman, and just there's something for everybody when, just even the Troublers can go on literally every team.
The puppet or whatever his name is, that's really cool.
Scarface, I think, has some potential in certain places. Yeah.
I agree. So. I also chose Batman the Animated Series. Yeah, it's as close to a perfect set as I think we've ever gotten to me. For everything that you just outlined, I love it when a set can do contribute a number of different things to different areas within the game. So we got some special objects. We got a chase theme that basically rewarded you no matter which one you picked. There weren't, like, some were obviously better than others, but none of them were useless because they're all 0-point sideline call-ins. So even if you got like the Atom or ones that were less effective, it's still better than nothing. Like, it was still felt like a reward when you got the chase, which is a rare thing. and so the fact that it introduced a new mechanic that worked to make you happy with your high rarity pull, no matter which one it was, combined with the fact that you got some objects, you got the suited henchmen for some keyword muckery, you've got more primes, you've got good title characters, a lot of thematic opportunities with other things that were out there already, and also within the set, the introduction of a new and fun mechanic with the whatchamacallit, backwards fist. What's that called?
Autonomous.
The introduction of autonomous and some good use of that. Like you put it all together, POG generators, et cetera, et cetera. It took a lot of what was out there, gave us a little bit more kind of spattered around, more good ID calling characters as well, with the dropping of the new Batman or Gotham themed ID characters, villainous IDs. So you take all of that, you give us a little bit of everything, and you make the entire game better. And that's what Jason was talking about with Affinity, which is another reason why it belongs to that list too. I think all the sets this year did a good job with that. I just think the Batman the Animated Series was the pièce de résistance.
I think we both forgot one important thing, and I forgot a second important thing. Just the map bonuses.
Yeah, that's
a huge thing now.
Another huge thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just being able to fill your team points wise with something that isn't an ID card. I like that. Obviously,
cool new mechanic.
Hey, yeah. And just the sculpts. Like, I don't think any of them were really bad. And they were just, so.
No, yeah. even that robot Minotaur. I mean, that's the one and only thing that puts it in a super rare slot, is it is very pretty.
All right, and my honorable mention as well goes to Secret Wars Battle World, because sealed for that was fantastic, and the set has offered a lot of things that a lot of people are talking about. It's not going to leave our lips as far as the conversation is concerned for honorable mentions for me. Tom, is there an honorable mention you want to throw in?
It would be Infinity for me, because for a lot of the same reasons I talked about Batman Animated, it contributed a lot of new things in different forms, new Retaliators, new vehicles, new Colossals, new mechanics and themes and stuff. It's really quite cool. Yeah.
Yep.
I have to go Infinity because I just feel like there was more competitive impact on top of other factors. So if I had to pick an honorable mention and Infinity wasn't an option, I would definitely be going for Secret Wars. But just the lack of competitive impact for Constructed kind of nails it for me.
So let me just, we don't need to spend a lot of time here, guys, because we all have the same call for the worst set, right? Yeah, very much so. It's a given.
TMNT4.
Class, of course. I mean, it's not even that it's bad. It's just it isn't great, and the rest of them were.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just not stunning. It's rather generic. I loved the models. Like I personally love that pixel stuff because I love pixel stuff. But that could be because I'm in video games. Who knows? So pixels are cool.
Again, I think it's a fun theme. I think they look cool. Absolutely. Again, it's got to be that or X-Men, and I like X-Men better, even if I found it uninspired at times.
Yeah, I mean, and I hated X-Men Sealed so much.
Yeah,
X-Men Sealed was such a bear, but because the way TMNT4 is built, there is no Sealed, so it's actually a zero factor, almost a negative mark on it, because I didn't get a chance to really play Sealed unless I forced it, and then I would have to play with the TMNT figures in there.
Would you agree, Jay?
I mean, I don't think it's possible to disagree and not be wrong. So yes, I do agree. But also, just because I had no incentive to buy it because the distribution of Gravity Feeds is not great. Like the theoretical one chase that I don't even want, one super rare. No thanks.
What a nice problem to have, though, that like the worst set of the year is hardly even that bad, and it's a Gravity Feed set that's fairly skippable to begin with. Like, it's been a great year for HeroClix releases, I think.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing that, the worst set is still fun to play. The figures are neato, and I love the theming of video game-based turtles. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
It didn't factor in the grand play of things when it comes down to it. The Fast Forces might see some awesomeness in the future, or in everyman format tournaments. Who knows? Plugging my own little crap there to the side.
I like it though.
Side project, but yeah, for the most part, it's not great. All right, I'm gonna let Tom take the lead on this one because his might be obvious, but I might be wrong on this one.
Oh, okay.
Our favorite moment of 2018 in regards to HeroClix.
You know, it's funny because I don't think it is obvious. I had a lot of good moments this year.
Yeah, you
um,
had a really fantastic year.
yeah, I had, like as far as performance is concerned, then I couldn't hardly be happier. Um, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to cop out of this one a little bit because how do I compare? If I'm just talking about like performance wise, it's very difficult for me to compare, winning the Canada Cup to being at the final table of the Rock Cup. Those are both awesome, but I didn't have the benefit of being able to share those with my bros the way I did the top four of Team Worlds, and top eight of Canadian Nationals was great, and WKO wins and things like it's been a heck of a year. But frankly, I think my favorite moment of the year was sitting at the same brew pub that we'd been for the previous 3 nights after after Worlds was over, exhausted as it's possible to be, bickering over little HeroClix things, enjoying some brews, and just appreciating the camaraderie that builds itself around this community. So I think it's a multi-way tie for my favorite performance related HeroClix memories, but ultimately this comes back to the people that you play it with and the times that you have doing it. So I think my favorite moment of the year is taking a deep breath after Worlds was over and saying, well, that was a hell of a season. Let's raise a glass and make it even better next year.
All right, Jay.
Oh, you're not making me go last. I had a couple, and Tom kind of already covered his, even though he didn't technically pick it because
That
that was
bar we
pretty
lived
cool.
at. You
I'm getting to. Sorry, what?
So Yards Brewery. The fact that we lived there for a weekend.
It was real good. It was really, a lot of
good
good
beer.
beers. Yeah.
Yeah, those were some good beers. That root beer or that beer ice cream float abomination was actually not as bad as I would have thought.
Not as bad as the waiter made it seem like it was gonna be.
That
Yeah,
like
he was like horrified. He was like, "You're
Yeah.
gonna what?"
You're not putting it in the stout? Like, no, I want a raspberry flavored float. Get a life, dude.
Hey, it worked. Man.
I think I hope she's watching because I think I have to pick Emily's open win because she has been
She's
on
watching.
it with the play testing and everything and working super hard. And to finally get a victory there, I think was pretty vindicating, especially considering how often we play test together and how much time we've been spending together in general. So I will go with that Summer WizKids Open win, especially because she got to qualify for the next Canadian Nationals before the one that she ended up actually playing because of how the timing worked out. It was great.
Mhm. All right. I mean, I could just say how much I loved the traveling and the trips and the play, but I didn't do that much. I could say my WKO win, grabbing another sword down at Jackson Queen. It felt good. I didn't remember your team.
Always good to get a sword.
But I had forgone state or provincials for that, and I felt a little bad about that one. So that kind of, I mean, as much as I wanted to go to that, I wanted to go to the other thing too, and it ended up working in my favor. But my keynote moment is it's probably what you guys think. It's top 4 in Team Worlds.
Yeah, man.
With a team, I might add, that didn't have a single super rare on it, and having the best rate. Like everything about that felt good for me, and it also, as much as I did it, I was joking. Having a better record than Tom, Mr. Second Place at Rock World Cup. I mean, come on, Tom. I gotta carry you, buddy.
I tell you, the anchor as always.
Yeah, right. Just the ball and chain on the team here.
It was my awful team. How could you possibly stick me with that unplayable team?
But like it was that realization. Even in the top 16, I was a little worried because that was when I take my first loss. Then I looked over and you and Steve had like a look of relief on your faces, and we had won. And it was like, we're going to top 8.
That's what Team Worlds is about.
Yeah, I won, and then you walked away with your win in the top 8, and just the look on Steve's face when I said top 4, baby, when he went, oh, and damn near died, was just it was so fun because you get that little bit of tease if you don't tell them, but you're doing well, so you can just kind of confidently say, oh man, took a loss, eh? It's a good thing the other two are carrying you. And our Swiss performance was great. Going 10-2 as a total record was like I'm proud of all of us. We did a fantastic job. Especially top seed with 2 super rares pulled, 1 played. No chases. And no, we didn't get a prime either. So, which is weird.
You're
'cause
right.
Thanos Prime is herpes to me. He keeps flaring up. Where does he keep coming from?
That's
Though I
true.
did
That's
play
fine.
against a few.
Hey, at least we all have them now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh!
Oh. But overall, just the joy of that coming back with all of that stuff. Just trying to figure out the math of getting it into Steve's car.
Yep.
Shifting my luggage around in order to make it work, rolling up clothes and stuff like that. And, you know, afterwards, chilling out on the Super Nintendo Classic was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
I-
The whole thing, frankly, everything about the last 4 months has just been like a fever dream of
Oh,
HeroClix
man.
goodness.
It's been so fantastic. Like, you know what? I did enjoy, like, as an honorable mention, cheering Tom on from the sidelines and damn near breaking my hand when he beat Adam Friedman.
I don't know how, like, it sounds like I was plugged in, but I felt the love of a community while I was playing, and it's not even like I knew what people were saying.
If
but
you saw the chat, boy, like there was a spirit bomb. If you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, just being collected for Tom Kerr. Oh
Nice.
man.
it was great. It was a truly everything. What a great season of HeroClix it's been.
Yeah, and a special hype to the guys that ran the stream on that. They did a fantastic job.
Yeah, they really did.
The stream was good quality, and the commentary was good. It wasn't, you know, too much dead air. It was a lot of commentary, proper discussion about the game, and awareness about what was going on the board. And I got to give a lot of props to the team behind that as well.
Absolutely.
So that's
You
my
mean the one guy behind it?
Hey, you know what? But he always
Workhorse.
had a partner, so there's always two voices, which, you know,
Oh, there you go. Okay.
he took
Yeah.
to heart. He took that advice to heart.
I feel like he was probably just the single best streamer I've ever seen in any HeroClix anything.
Ow!
Right?
Oh.
Damn.
Oh!
Oh, it's too real.
Oh. Jeez, who's
Oh,
this
I
idiot they
forgot
hired
about
to
you.
handle the rules team on the Rock now? Jay
Oh.
not working on the
I
Metal
did
Lab anymore,
forget-
Solomon?
Oh. Oh man, I feel bad now.
Yeah, he's got to go on his own like a solo man.
Oh, eh? I'm just teasing. He did a fantastic job. Tom.
I already did mine.
Any honorable mentions?
Oh, I think everything I've just said counts as an honorable mention.
Yeah, fair enough. Jay, anything else you wanna big up?
I guess the day after the World Cup, after helping Tom somehow figure out how to pack up all his stuff and taking some of it for him myself and all that
Carry-on.
stuff. Yeah, and getting to and
Drinking
helping
beer out of
carry
a
the
broken bottle.
yeah. Oh god, I remember that. Yeah, that was my first drink forever. But the day after that, because my flight was so late, I ended up just hanging out at Lucky Dice all day. And I got to talk to Howard a bunch, and in the course of that conversation, the head judge thing was mentioned. I was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, man.
So that was fun. Holding on to that secret for how long has it been? Oh my god, it's been like 2 months now, hasn't it? Oh my god, it's finally out.
Yay.
Good times. And I guess just the announcement of him talking about the WizKids merger in general was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised there wasn't like a standing ovation, but still great.
I think everybody was hungry and sitting down for food.
Yeah.
Or full.
Or digesting. I can't remember the sequence of events, but yeah.
It was also not the easiest. It was a little bit tight, so I don't know if everybody could literally stand with the way the chairs were, but still, that was also pretty great.
Or
We were
nobody
also
was brave
listening.
enough to stand up first because I would have.
Well, I mean, we were listening. We were on the edge of every word.
All right. That said, I don't want to reflect on bad things that happened this year because that's what this next part is for. Our this year's resolutions. What are our plans for next year in the world of HeroClix? And mine is very obvious if you've been listening to me the entire year. I am going to work on my work-life clicks balance. As in, work is going to take it a little easy on me this year, hopefully. And life is starting to settle a little bit into a flow of things. With Amber working, we have our schedule on hand, and the way we work with the kids has its way in hand. But now it's time to get clicks back into that schedule. It's very difficult for me these days because, Amber. Amber is less invested in competitive play, which means I need to grab one of you goons.
Hey!
Bring you over here to play more frequently. And of course, part of that is I'm getting my driver's license again. I'm looking to getting a vehicle.
Bring yourself over here, and then we'll play.
Nice.
That isn't going to happen until like next year, me driving, personally. So be aware of that, guys. Give me a year of you guys, and I'll go there.
All right.
But I need
Sounds
a
good.
year. I need a year of practice, and I need a year of study, and I need a year of balancing all three of my hats, while at the same time reinvesting a little bit of time into my revisited hobby, as it were, because I have actually just recently started recollecting classic games again. If you know me, video games are my soul. HeroClix is my heart. And as a result, when Amber told me that we were having twins, one of the first things I had to do was sell my classic video game collection for a lot of money in order to get, all the furniture and strollers and stuff you need for twins. Because at minimum, a 2-kid stroller is $200. So after you've factored that in, that was a small portion of the money that I collected for this. But now I have to re-grab that, which means that's part of my hobby life as well. So I'm going to try to balance all of this that's going on in my life by probably getting Todoist as an app. It's a to-do list app, as well as scheduling and Google Calendaring using these goons, emails, etc., to do invites and requests and everything like that. We're just going to try to get better communication from our HeroClix team so we can actually get more team practice situations going. And will I record it? Probably not, unless I can get some really cool live setup. So my Clix Year's resolution is to balance my schedule to make sure that I get the thing that I preach the most, the practice in. I'm going to do the work. Do the work time. It's because I can't expect things to just fall in my lap. And my major tournament record has reflected on it. My WKO win was reflective of a split between player bases going to 2 different events. My WKO second place was a lower attended event with a lot of people, all of us really just experimenting. All of us were experimenting with new teams at that event, with the exception of maybe Emily. So, my goal this year is to take away that stumble upon luck and just get back to Jason is good at the game again. And that's my big goal, is to schedule and communicate myself better to make sure I can get all the time that I need. So, Tom.
Good. It's hard. I think if I was, there's kind of two. There's two things.
Improve your results, because that's you can't get negative.
Yeah, that would be arrogant. Yeah, no, I can't complain about the results. I would say that the thing I'd like to do this year that I wasn't able to really do up until this point, just based on the way I live my life, is add a bit more organization to the way I approach HeroClix. A little bit less throwing things together at the last minute, a little bit less not knowing up until the week before whether or not I'm going to be able to go to a thing, because I feel like adding a bit more of a framework of organization will enable me to do what I really want to do, which is just, well, play more, but especially like see more of the community. I'm so happy when we get to go to, Ottawa and Montreal, or down to the Rock World Cup and the Worlds and stuff. You see so many people in the community and so many like-minded people having fun together, and I kind of think, why can't I do this all the time? And I'm like, oh yeah, time. Oh yeah, money. But especially organization. If you know it's coming, then you can make it there. It also, I've never been very good at maintaining my own collection. One of the reasons I borrow as often as I do is that I never really get the things that I want to play with, and a lot of them aren't that hard to come by. I mean, how many times have I been borrowing? Like, I borrowed Rare Professor X forever until somebody just gave him to me, and I'm still borrowing Brood X. I mean, he's not that expensive. I should be able to get a Brood X. It's just I don't think about it until the tournament's in a week, and then I don't have time to order it. So that's the type of thing I want to address, is thinking about things a little further out, being more organized, so I know what I need. I can get the pieces that I'm missing. I can maybe even get to the point where I'm selling the things I've got extras of. And that should enable me to attend more events and just sort of see more of the wider HeroClix community.
All right. Jay, hey, sorry, before we do that, hey, Tom, you know, be a good way to keep that communication and get those things in your head more often? Us getting together and having these conversations on a semi-regular basis.
Oh, that's a good thing. I thought you were going to say join Facebook, and I'm like, no, sir.
No. Like I said, we're going to do this Google Calendar thing in the new year. It's going to be part of our Clicks Year's resolution, and we're going to spend. I'm going to spend like the half of the month trying to make sure I get it all together, and we'll communicate a day or something on WhatsApp.
Good
stuff. That's how we have Tom now. We have a messenger that we can contact Tom on, and it's
right.
It's quite beautiful to have access to Tom.
What a rare thing.
In one place. Jay,
cave roll of HeroClix.
Oh, man. I mean, I was already not playing enough as it was, but now,
Not playing more.
Not playing more. How about I just start by doing a good job? That'll be good.
That's
if I don't do things badly to begin with, that'd be kind of okay. I do a kind of good job. Was the head judge sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's a fair resolution to say do well in your new position. It's a new position.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I mean...
Rule them rules, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done anything that is, like, out there yet, because, like, all the 12 days stuff that was before me, I have not done anything yet, really.
You were announced today,
so I mean, technically, yeah, but, yeah.
It's only
so
real
hopefully
now.
I do a good job. But also... hopefully I can actually play an event, constructed. I want to specify because winning a sealed open. But also with all the weekends of rock stuff, I should have provincials. Yeah, provincials. I should be able to hit one or two in that I can actually play. That'll be fun. And just maybe, Canadian Nationals, who knows? I have my qualification. You never know what happens there. So maybe I'll actually use a qualification now that I have it. So maybe playing, actually, sometime eventually.
Yeah. I mean, I think... Tom, have you won a WKO that gets you next year's Nationals yet? Or
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah.
All three of us already... Like, we got to start cramming...
Yeah, Mike White's the only person that's behind on that.
Yeah, and there's still WKOs ahead. I mean,
yeah, he'll get there.
It could come into a situation where me, Tom, like the four of us, you and the three of us and Devin are the top four of an event, and fifth place gets it. Like it's already happened where Kyle Gilmore got third place and got his seat for me and Devin getting top two.
Yeah,
it's so who knows? I mean, if that trend continues, where like a lot of the top players already have it.
Hey, the more the merrier, man.
Yeah. Come on,
that's the reward for playing.
Maybe Amber will get in this year by the qualifiers. Who knows? I don't think.
Or maybe she'll just win
this year. Yeah, maybe she'll just win. Maybe she'll play. We got to get her practicing first. That's my sub like low end. Not telling anybody about Clicks Year's resolution is like get Amber back into competitive play somehow, but she's kind of lost the heart for it, so you can't force that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Pulling up these now. Anything else you guys want to add going into the new year before we go to questions?
No. I think that it's been such a great year for HeroClix the game. We've had so many great sets, and it's been such a great year for me in HeroClix that on the one hand you might say the only way is down, but I mean to prove that that's not the case.
Jay.
I have nowhere to go but up. From zero play to maybe I play.
But, Jay says it's zero play, and then yet him and the Black Panther got him a win. So
yeah, you're
Black Panther and I. Black Panther first.
Now I have two of them.
Oh.
I should also.
Yes, you do for some reason.
I'm going to try next year to be a little less mean to Jay.
Oh, I'm not.
But
Oh
if
yeah,
our-
good luck with that.
If our viewer count goes down, I'm gonna go back to being mean to him.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be
Or-
honest. You'll never succeed at that. It's like your favorite thing.
Absolutely, it's like it's my sub hobby in HeroClix. It's my sub game of HeroClix. You know, when I'm not playing HeroClix, I'm being mean to Jay. All right. Before we move into other things, from our Discord, Lucas has also wanted to point out that his favorite set, hands down, this year was Secret Wars Battle World. The set was so good for sealed. The only bad booster he saw was horrible. Was an all Weird World booster. Even that wasn't bad because their trait is still good. It's also brought some fun figures that I believe will shake up Constructed and will cause people to think twice when building their teams. Now he's not wrong in that situation.
I think it's great that so many people. I mean, if Devin were here, you can be sure he would be saying X-Men. You could make an argument for a lot of different things.
Would he be saying that between the fact that he probably pulled Witch Queen LeFay by accident again? He's
I don't know.
HeroClix
He loves that
packs and he's
piece,
got
but
those.
he is an X-Men man.
Yeah. Yes, he is. All right. Before we move into questions, one last thing. Patreon.com/MarriedWithClicks. Obviously, this month is probably not the best month to be a patron, but moving to January, Patreon is where a lot of perks come from. Like Lucas here has been engaging with us from our Discord, and we will take a little bit of time from our Discord and engage with the fans in Discord, and share their thoughts from there. And how do you get on our Discord? Any evaluation on the Patreon at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Any valuation gets you that. At the $5 valuation in the new year, you're going to get access to our live shows via a call-in link, which we'll be mailing to all of our patrons towards a little before the question period, where they can pop their heads in. We'll, of course, give all the instructions and rules that you'll need to do for that. But they'll be able to join us on the show for a brief moment, kind of like a radio call-in show almost, and you'll be like long-time patron, first-time caller sort of situation for a while.
Great. That's a good idea.
And we're looking forward to that. That was mostly because all of our content from here on is mostly going to be live. Our schedule just does not allow, if I'm going to be practicing, our schedule doesn't include much time for editing anymore.
Live practicing.
Live practicing might be a thing if we can get a decent setup for that. I will not discount the idea. I just need to make sure we can stream that beautifully. And that might be something for the day of the week that we choose to practice. That'll be between me and Tom on the off screen. All right. But first, the questions from Facebook. All right. So, we've got to start with the first ones. And the first one came from Michael Fedor. He is the alpha patron, by the way. The first patron. He's been with us since the beginning of the patron program. I always got to point that out.
You bet, man.
The alpha patron, as we call him. Will there ever be a Clicks Hall of Fame for players or for pieces themselves? Feel free to tell me it's a dumb idea. If so, I don't think it's a dumb idea, but I don't think it's a feasible idea. Yet. I mean, if this game somehow gets to like 50 years of a legacy, maybe. But like, as far as the game's lifespan is concerned and the number of world champions we've had, there's not much in the way of legacy for the game just yet. Because HeroClix WizKids is going to might not recognize Rock champions, which means we only have the one champion per year, which would be a handful of players still. Like, we're not at 15 players yet at world champions in 15 years of the game. But who knows? Maybe in the future. But the other thing too is, how do you kind of evaluate a Hall of Fame, as it were? Would they open up a building? No, that costs money. That is not revenue. That would have to bring in revenue, and that would be let's be honest. I don't think we're at that state yet with HeroClix. Like, I've said a couple times that the game's got a bit of a lifespan, mostly because it's a licensed product, and there's always such a ticking time bomb on licensed products. But at the same time, I mean, it might appeal for like a day and a half, a week, a month, where it gets some people looking at it, but it's really hard for people to just kind of come into a building and be like, HeroClix, they've got a building for it. It might find itself in the board game Hall of Fame, and therefore its section might have a bunch of mentions of all these players if there happens to become a Board Game Hall of Fame or Board Game Museum type thing. But I don't foresee a HeroClix suggested specific Hall of Fame. But we're kind of curating our own sort of fame and everything in our own community. So I think that personally is enough. I've talked at length, Tom.
I don't think there's any real possibility of there being a brick and mortar HeroClix Hall of Fame, but I don't. I do think that there is the opportunity, and actually, I would be very surprised if it doesn't happen. That over the course of the next few years, in the sort of the E space, we see more sort of fan-driven and player-driven recognition of major people within the tournament scene, sort of noted in a way where newcomers to the game can find them easily, know who they are, and see sort of what sort of records they have, and it gives a sense of the history of the game from a player's perspective, because you've already got the kind of the history of the game from the piece perspective, because there's so much dialogue out there to be found about pieces and what's worse and what has been successful, what has been less successful. I think that we'll start to see more and more of that around notable players, as that's just sort of the direction it's going, and it does feel like the community is starting to emerge with that in and of itself. Some of the stuff that Lane was doing, and that Will Gordon's been doing, and a lot of what Majestics has going on stuff. It's the recognition of notable contributors to the community. It doesn't have to be players per se. It's just notable personalities within the community. Is just going up and up, and I think that will become more formalized in a place where it's more accessible to newcomers.
So kind of like the WWE Hall of Fame. There's not like a building, but there's a note of fame. Yeah. All right. Jay?
I don't think I need to add anything.
Okay, cool. All right. The next up, Chris Stockhouse wants us to... he even says it's time to put a stamp on another year of HeroClix.
Yeah, man.
You guys are already going over all your favorite things of the year. But one of my favorite things about this year was when Tom apologized to me in the top 8 of Canada Cup about not giving me enough time to beat him with my tree team. So Canadian, eh?
He would have beaten me. I was. If you had done, I'll little spoiler alert.
I gotta find my spot here. All right, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, if we had done our worst moments of the year, that was going to be it. Because I do feel like I stalled him out, not intentionally, but that's kind of what happened. So yeah, carry on. But
right.
Sorry.
He also goes on, my trip with PJ up to Canada was easily my favorite of the whole year. From trying Canadian Kit Kats to ordering a Canadian beer and getting laughed at by PJ and Jay to barely beating Mike White round 1, getting to play everyone except Devin and Emily on Team Metal Lab. You guys are just the best. So let me ask you a couple best ofs you might not have thought of. The favorite loss of the year? Okay, so I'll label them all so you guys get a little bit of time to think about them. So favorite loss of the year, favorite creative constructive build you saw this year, what team that debuted this year you wish you had a chance to play with or against but didn't have the time or pieces to do so, favorite crit hit, crit miss of the year. This one might be tough to think of. Thanks, mates. Cheers. See you in 2019. All right, so we'll go one at a time. Favorite loss of the year. I think it's both my favorite and the most bittersweet was the loss to Tom in the first round of Rock Canada Cup, when I came to realize, 1, I needed more practice. 2, holy crap, what is Tom's team doing to me? And then swearing at how poorly I positioned, only to have Tom say, no, you're doing fine. Stop being nice to me, Tom. When I screw up, I screw up.
All right.
Tom, what was your favorite loss of the year?
Oh, it's got to be the finals of the Rock Cup.
Because you got the Rock Cup finals?
Right, because I can't believe I was there in the first place. And also, like, it was a great game. After rolling hot on map all day, I finally lost a map roll. And yet, through a confluence of good dice rolling, specifically Star Fox missing his super senses, then it looked like that I may have had a chance. It was a good game. Like, there was back and forth there. I had a chance. And then, he turned it around. He took the advantage back, and then he was able to finish it off. So I don't feel badly at all. Like, I'm happy to say that the better man won the tournament, but I was real happy to have been there at all and to have had the opportunity to play against arguably the best and certainly one of the best players in the world at that setting.
All right. Jay? Favorite loss of the year, Jay?
Am I Canadian interneting right now? I think I
don't
am.
know.
We can hear you now.
We can hear you. Can you hear me? I don't think he can hear me. And yeah, he Skyped out. He's Canadian internet.
Oh, I mean, you're asking the wrong person that question.
Actually, we're asking exactly the right person this question because we need to think about what our favorite other things were.
I didn't play enough to give a good answer to this.
All right.
You never lose.
Yeah.
I guess my favorite loss probably at the Michigan Super Q against PJ and Swiss. It was a fun game. I mean, I did lose. There was some dice involved, but it was one of those fun games where we were both kind of going back and forth, and we both knew what the plays were going to be the whole time, sort of thing. Probably that one. I can't really think of another one.
Okay, fair enough. All right, next up, your favorite creative constructed build you saw this year. Tom, you get honorable mention because some psychopath, some wonderful human being broke the single elimination rounds and even got, I think, to the top 8 with the Super Friends.
Yeah, cool.
What?
Very cool.
We played against him, and he was actually the guy that nailed you with the loss in the Swiss that I've never forgiven you for.
Yes, I remember.
in our Team Worlds Swiss. So, yeah. I forgot his name. Tom, you might know his name. I don't know.
I can't remember his name either.
But... I think was it Kent Nelson or something?
That's the one.
Sure.
Yeah, it was Kent. Kent was his name. That's for sure.
I'm
Kent.
bad with names.
Congrats to the Super Friends team, man. I loved it.
Great guy. Great player too.
All right. What's your favorite constructed build you saw?
Who?
Yours, Tom.
Oh,
sorry.
This is gonna sound like pandering, but I'm gonna say Chris's, because I do think it was my favorite. It's like I've seen March of the Ents before. It's not the first time anybody's played it, but it's the first time it's been put together in like this the synchronicity between that team and the Rockwater map, and the ability to kind of lock down his better retaliators so you can't get a good line on them while the rest of the floras are coming forward and clogging up the map, and just the advantage spins to him and becomes overwhelming so quickly. It's basically like the slow march version of the really aggressive version of Tyler's Wales team. It's like the attrition version, and it's really great. It's a great way of taking various elements that people have made work before and turning it into a cohesive whole that no one saw coming. So I thought it was really cool.
All right, Jay.
I mean, I could go with the obvious one, which is obviously the Super Friends, and I actually had the pleasure of verifying that build. There's this one really crazy guy who managed to make Green Arrow work, and his name is George.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be George. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Here comes the swerve.
Yeah, it's not even a swerve. It's true.
I mean, it's. I mean, you can't deny the sheer impact of the team, considering how many people were playing it. It was like you cloned yourself or something, and everybody was just as crazy as you were. It's
got that combination of fun and effectiveness.
I mean, it won the Canada Cup, it got second at the World Cup, it won a bunch of opens, it was like half the field at Worlds.
Second at
Worlds on top of that. This doesn't matter as much, but in the constructed part of the Majestics final event, there was 8 players. 2 of them were playing it.
Yeah, I think it's still
at least it was 2 people playing the exact version, I think. And just I feel like out of all possible teams, it's both really weird and also got the most play and the most placements out of anything played this year, probably.
It's an interesting metric. I don't know how you do that, but yeah.
Fair enough. All right. What team that debuted this year did you wish you had a chance to play with or against, but didn't have the time or pieces to do so? Wow. No. Because I could have played Tom's team anytime. That was never a problem. I have most of Tom's team, and I could easily borrow. I did borrow certain elements of it aside. The problem, and this is a slash rant, but and I'm going to try to hide my infuriated anger about the fact that I couldn't do this. Was that I never got a chance to play the X-Men team. Part of which, Wolverines are inexpensive, and I was short on money. So $200 for the Wolverine, or $150 at the time. No, it would have been like $210 because he hit 70, give or take, at the time. Like, he was pretty high. It would have cost me like $200+ just to get the 3 Wolverines I would have needed. 1 for the sideline, 2 for the board. Right? Then the other ID cards. And then at Canadian Nationals, I was second in line in order to buy things. Was not allowed to buy a Blackbird as a result. So there's my little moment. So that aside, I wish I could have got a chance to really give that a try before it kind of came out of favor in the grander metagame. There's a little bit of subtext of upset and frustration with that. And, that is what it is. Tom.
I don't have a great answer. My answer would be the same.
One of the best teams this year?
Well, it's not that. It's just like, the teams. I was happy with the teams I played, and I thought there were lots of cool teams out there. But it's hard to say that there's any one particular I wish I could play. My answer would be the same as yours. Would be a Blackbird-based X-Men team. In part because I wonder whether it's too much for me, because I think it might be. But I think it would be a worthy challenge because there's a zillion moving parts in that team, and playing it well is something that requires a really high level of skill. And I would like to see whether it's something that's in my blood or not. So
or requires functioning ADHD.
Yeah.
I guess I had the benefit of watching a lot of PJ's games, but I did okay with it. I didn't have any time to practice with it, so.
No, you're a very good player.
As much as we made fun of you, you're pretty good at this game, Jay.
So the thing with the Blackbird team is that you need to learn the plays with it. Like, there are very specific plays and very specific math and things you had to remember. I'm not knocking it at all. It's just not quite as complicated as you would think upon first looking at it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that's why I'd like to play it.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay?
Anything.
Jay
One of the requirements was time to play.
Fair.
I don't really feel like I have one, because like everything that I want to still play before it retires still has the time to play before it retires. I'm just trying to see what retired this year that I didn't play. I think I pretty much played everything that rotated this year that I wanted to. I guess I could have, because I actually did manage to get a star out despite all circumstances pointing in the other direction after Canadian Nationals. I could have played it, but that would involve bringing it to Vegas and coming up with some sort of team with it. It was, yeah. So basically, yeah, I guess not building a Starro team right when it was actually legal, and now it's kind of established sort of thing. So, yeah, I guess I'll say that.
Yeah, that always hurts is when you have the idea, don't get a chance to play the idea, and then you see other people playing it like, oh.
They got there first.
Yeah. Well,
Starro against X-Men at the time would have been really good. Just like, screw your formation. Wolverines are gonna. Oh, you bucks up stats in offensively. Okay, I'm gonna just use those stats, please and thanks. It'll be pretty fun.
I'm excited to play Starro now that I finally have one.
Yeah.
He is good fun.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of things that I'm looking forward to just opening, and I still haven't even tried a Thanos copter. All right.
Next.
Next up, jeez, there's so many. What this one? Favorite crit hit and crit miss of the year. This one might be tough to think about. My favorite crit miss was the one that brought out my first firestorm. And it was caused by a Carnage doing a colossal retaliation. So I still got my pog. My favorite crit hit was sorry Kyle, I love you buddy. Was against Kyle Gilmore in the top 4 of that WKO. I had called in a Wolverine, And I have used all but one of my other ID cards against Kyle in this game. And my Wolverine hits with a critical hit against his Star Fox against the wall. And I said, I am doing knockback. Immediately. And he turned to the judge and said, because at this time Jay and Glenn were doing active judging in the top 4. He turned to Glenn, he's like, I get my super senses. Glenn was like, nope. That's my favorite crit hit because it won me the game effectively in that particular situation. But yeah, all right, so those were mine. Tom?
I just don't know. Because if you said least favorite, I could think of several for both.
Your least favorite crit hit?
Yeah, it was when PJ crit hit my Mistress Death off of Mjolnir, with his Blackbird team. Like, as if it wasn't enough. I mean,
what was
like
your favorite crit hit?
My favorite crit hit, honestly, was probably because I against Matty G in the top 4 at Rock World Cup. I rewatched the match with the stream on, and they couldn't hear what power he had chosen. I think they assumed it was Super Senses. It wasn't. But I crit hit, and I remember the commentary was, you get Super Sense out of that, and that was what popped Unimind. Now, but to be fair, he hadn't chosen Super Senses, and the hit did enough damage that I didn't need the crit to pop Unimind. But it was particularly satisfying knowing that even if he had, it wouldn't have mattered. So I'll go with that. Crit miss though, I don't know. I've made 100,000 crit misses with loyalty marker attacks. How do I choose any one as my favorite one?
I was gonna say, how about you just say combined every time you've critically missed with the loyalty marker? Because I've seen like between the camera games and you playing against me, I've seen you do it a lot.
It happens a lot, seemingly way more often than I do against like opponents.
I was gonna say, like, I was sitting here like, why can't you be making these against me? Like your attack rolls against me. Why can't these be the critical misses? Jay?
Woe for the days when that wouldn't have mattered anyway because of the no damage thing.
Right.
Good times.
Alas.
Jay, do you have any?
I mean, I feel like I crit hit more with Incap and other similar attacks where it literally doesn't matter or the damage doesn't matter.
True.
I feel like my critical miss was pretty identical to yours, Jason. I was playing... at the qualifier, the Patricia Lamb one in Western New York, I was playing. I mean, it doesn't really matter what I was playing, but I was playing the Blackbird team with the Angel variant. That was fun. And basically, my main force Wolverine, I think, just crit missed. And I'm like, well, I have enough probs where I can make this not matter, but this attack is actually just so inconsequential. I don't even know. And I ended up choosing to take the crit miss just so I could get a Firestorm. I was like, oh, okay, this is fun. And then it happened to have been against the Unimind, and on top of that, he ended up taking the damage to get his plus superplex. I was like, aha, now I have plus superplex. Now we're more even. And then Angel blew up and killed literally all the Eternals. So that was fun.
Fair enough. All right. So next up, Matty G himself, Magrichunos.
Oh!
He wants to know what your favorite person, game, and... Okay, so we've already covered moment of the year, obviously.
Yep.
But he wants to know what our favorite person and game of the year was. Ooh, that's a tough one for me. I got it. You know what? I'm going to say it right now. My favorite game of the year was actually a 0-0 draw. And it was in the Team Worlds Swiss. I think it was second round where we were playing against Ed Bergovitz and friends. I can't remember my opponent's name directly. But that game... It was one of those situations where it's like it was a 0-0 tie with a lot of turns. No particular turn was like slow playing, nothing bad. Like if you were to watch this game, a game was happening, just nothing died. Because nobody was being dumb enough to give up the points. I knew full well if one of my characters got into into a situation where he could do the damage that I need, I was then exposed to too much damage, and I couldn't do that. But my opponent at the same time couldn't just give away small amounts of points because I could take those small amounts of points and easily get away from him. So both of us played it very intelligently, and if you were to watch it, it was like watching two players playing HeroClix with no damage being dealt. And I have this comparison. If you watch the UFC and you're not a big fan of the guys who go to the ground and wrestle and maintain control, you get bored But if you're familiar with wrestling and jiu-jitsu and the finite parts of it, you are watching their small body motions and going, "Oh, this is amazing! Oh my God! Do you see just that small arm motion and how he like?" You can't sell it on some people. So if you're to watch it, you'd be like, "This is boring. What the heck?" If you're playing it, oh, what an intense matchup! Like borderline chess matchup on that one. Give me a bit on favorite player, Tom.
Yeah, I'll also start with favorite game. It's funny. I'm so. It's perhaps I'm just being influenced by the people asking the questions because Matty G and I had a great match at the World Championship at the very first round, just because it was such a nail biter of a game. Like he played really well. He got the map ball, choice, which helped, but then. He took an early advantage. I was able to get a point advantage on Groot. He threw Lockjaw out there. I tried my best to surround him so he had no spaces in which to call somebody in with Lockjaw. Was able to get a bunch of damage out, but not quite enough. He was able to phase Lockjaw back and then get into position to one-shot my Penguin. And I was trying to get into position to try to take out his Flora, and they called time. It was I love back-and-forth games, so that certainly is one of them. Another one that comes to my mind was my this may sound odd, but I enjoy being outplayed sometimes because I enjoy when this game kind of comes down to the player as opposed to just the dice or the circumstance or the particular relationship between teams. And the game that knocked me out of the Canadian Nationals against Kenji was one of my favorites of the year as well because I feel I got an early advantage by getting a good tank off on his X-Men team, did a lot of damage and got some points early, but then he was able to start healing up, pulled back, didn't get aggressive, didn't kind of instinctually try to fight back hard, knowing the retaliators were back, pulled back, got some healing out, took the retaliators out, stayed outside my swing, and it was a real chess match and a lot of maneuvering, and he played a better game, and I never mind being outplayed by, Kenji, Matty, anybody. I want to have a good match, and no, they're not when there's a lot of good players out there, you're not going to win them all, but you always learn something in losing. And it makes you excited to get another shot. So those are my favorites.
Jay? Favorite game?
Oh, favorite game. It has to be my own. That kind of sucks. I did like that game where I got to blow up. Because I was playing. You know what? Sure, I'll go with that Angel game that I just referred to. Because I was basically playing PJ's Canadian Nationals team, but with the Chase Angel variant instead for various reasons, and basically getting to kill a Unimind and then saying it doesn't matter where you place your Eternals because they're going to die because his radius of blowing up is 5 and their radius of being put out is 4. I'm like, okay, try and figure it out. Sit here the rest of the game. I don't care because that's not how it's going to happen. So, yeah. And it was great because in addition to everything, Unimind's own ridiculous stats kind of screwed him because his first attack was just to hit Angel for a whopping 5 onto that stop hook, and I'm like, okay, so I'll basically just wait, and when I pop you, I'll blow up, and then it happened. So that was fun.
So we have to speed up because Tom's running out of battery on his laptop.
Yeah, not too much.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite person?
Favorite person? I gotta put it as PJ. He joined us on the show for a little while. I got a chance to finally play him in person. Like overall, And I've talked to him quite a bit and asked for his ideas on teams because I've had to use the community myself for teams. So PJ, beyond a shadow of doubt, my favorite person of the year, not named Tom Kerr.
Aww.
Tom, who's your favorite person of the year?
I just don't know. I've been trying so hard ever since he mentioned it. Because how do I choose one? There's so many good people in this community. They're pillars of this community. Sure, yeah, we'll cop out into the community. PJ would have been one of mine too because he is really he's such a stand-up guy and a great player and a great mind. But frankly, it's an ocean of great players. Pick out any given fish you want.
Fix your schedule, PJ. We need you back on the show, Jay.
I guess in the prize of consolation for not being Tom Kerr, we also have to go with PJ because in addition to everything you said, I spent a bunch of time with him this year, and that was great, and he was great.
Tom, I would also say Emily was the other person because again, what a journey.
She's always positive, loves the game. She definitely gets a whole big up on that one. I think she's also part of the Metal Lab family, so it's hard to just kind of hunker in everybody that we practice with on a regular basis. Like I love y'all guys.
Yeah, man.
Except for you, Jay.
Yeah, man.
Tyler Byrne has a couple of his own favorites, so some of these we can go up pretty quickly. But he says, congrats, question and congrats on another year, guys. the quick round robin set for either casual or competitive. Favorite piece under 40 points. I think we all say Groot.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
But
he
it's-
placed highest on me under 40 points on my list. That's kind of why I got to go with it. He's second place on my list, right?
Fair point. He was third on mine, so that does make sense.
Yeah. All right. Favorite piece 150 points or more. I'm never gonna play him competitively, but I really love the Iron Goblin. Tom.
SR Penguin is actually probably my favorite under 40. So this was 50 or more favorite piece?
150 or more.
150 or more. Come back to me.
All right, Jay.
It's hard to do these days, but I guess the first thing that comes to mind,
Casual or
It's
competitive?
not quite-
Which one works?
it's not quite competitive, but it's the only thing that can come to mind because that's not what the game points at anymore. So the Power Woman at full.
Fair. Tom.
Prime Thanos.
Cool. Favorite object? Venom harness for me. Tom.
Of the year, like that was released this year?
Of 2018. So yeah, I guess.
What else came? Like all the Mighty Thors were
Exospecs,
before, right?
Yeah. So it would be Scarface, Exospecs, Proxima Midnight Spear, Venom Harness. I think that's
That might be all.
Batarang,
Batarang,
Christmas present.
Christmas present.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Proxima Spear.
Cool. Jay.
Christmas
Say
present is
Exospecs.
fun.
Oh, Christmas present. Okay, cool. All right. Favorite keyword, team, or theme? I love Monster. Always will. Monster and Animal are always going to make my list if they're good in the year. And Monster not only won this year, but won me something this year. Tom?
Gotta be Gotham City.
Gotta be Gotham. Jay?
I guess cosmic, considering how much there was in Infinity, and Groot also.
Fair enough. All right. It's been a year, guys. It's been fantastic. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Tom and Jay, for being a part of the Metal Lab as much as you have been this year. And for as little as I have been this year. It's been a rough year for me. It was very busy at work. I'm glad to have found my way back eventually. And I think I can work my schedule around next time work gets busy that I can still do this. And I want to thank the fans for watching.
Yeah, man.
Thank our longtime sponsors, MajesticCCG.com/ApexInsiders.
Check that shit out.
Great brain dumps. Mine's coming up soon. They want me to build a team. I'm going to build a team. And Patrick likes my crazy brain, so I'm going to go crazy brain on this one.
It's the best. I check it every day.
So check it out. Again, $3 a month. It's a small price to pay for some great brains, and it helps keep the lights on. Help us keep this going. I don't know. So guys, make your Click Year's resolution and make part of that being practice. But I'm not going to go out too soon. Tom, anything you want to say on the way out for the year?
Happy holidays, everybody. If you're the Christmas sort, then Merry Christmas. If you're not, then Merry whatever it is that you choose to do. And have a happy new year. I hope we all get to see more of each other in 2019 across the table and having some fun.
Absolutely. Jay? And his internet cocked out right at the perfect time.
Nice, nice.
All right.
And part.
Happy holiday, Miss Stuff.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for watching live. Thank you to our patrons at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Join us come January. We're looking at 2 patron hangouts, hopefully one of which will include these 2 goons and whatever other goons I can find to join us on the show. It's always good to have an extra conversation, and Amber goes to bed pretty early these days, so we're going to try to get that together so we have more voices to talk to. Without further ado, enjoy your holidays. Get that practice, because practice will make your teams better, even in the new year. Happy holidays, guys.
Cheers, everyone.